Welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And what do you think about Batman?
Arkham Origins we're talking?
Yeah.
I just thought we'd clarify. Batman in general is fucking amazing.
Yeah, Batman in general. But what about Batman Arkham Origins?
I really like it. I do. There are some things about it that bother me, though. Okay. I mean, generally on the whole of the game...
Are you getting glitches in your game?
I'm getting a lot of glitches. They ain't come up till the part I'm at right now. It took some time. I'm not done with the game. That's all I've really been doing, aside from... It's kind of reaching that point, don't get me wrong. I do really like the game a lot, but it's kind of like doing the Grand Theft Auto thing. Right? That's all I really want to do until I'm done with it.
Uh-huh.
And so, we saw 2 movies over the last 2 days, and it was almost like, oh, cool, movies. I'm going to do a podcast. Sounds like... fucking movies and fucking podcasts getting in the way of my Batman time.
Batman time. Just like something I really want to do, but no, gotta go to the movies.
Yeah, so it's almost like it was a job or some shit.
Yeah, like a job you hated too.
Yeah. Go see movies for my fucking job, god damn it. No. It started just getting these glitches. I'm roughly at the... Well, the thing says I'm about 20-something% done, so I'm not sure how long the main story is, part of that percentage, but...
Well, most of us learn most of those kind of games. It's like, really, like, story-wise, it's mostly like 60-something%, and then the rest is always like, oh, pick up all the Riddler trophies or something like that.
Well, if that's going on, that makes me I look forward to the rest, because what ends up happening is, at one point, here's the thing that pissed me off the most with the game, and it's not like the biggest complaint, but it just still kind of bothers me, just as a Batman fan. And what ends up happening is, as the name implies, in Batman Arkham Origins, this takes place before Arkham City or Arkham Asylum games. Mm-hmm. And what ends up happening is, apparently this Batman 2 years into the job. So he's still kind of new to it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is Black Mask, they advertise Black Mask as the main villain. Like, oh, cool, okay, cool, we're gonna finally see a little bit more Black Mask. Joker's in it, but he's probably just a boss you fight at some point. He's probably one of the assassins or whatever. Okay, I'm looking forward to this. Now, I'm playing the game, and Black Mask is there. Then we reach a point where we find out Black Mask is missing, and he's been kidnapped by the Joker. It's like, okay. And then you find out the whole time this wasn't Black Mask underneath the mask. It was actually Joker underneath the mask.
Yeah.
And Black Mask, yeah, so... he's the one running the whole show, running everything. And as a Batman fan, I'm just a little like, I love Joker. Don't get me wrong, I love Joker. But there's how many other characters?
And there's so many Batman characters out there.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, it's the same with like Lex Luthor and Superman. Both Lex Luthor and Joker are amazing characters. They're so amazing, but you can't overuse them though. Just like any other good thing in life, you cannot overuse it.
That being said, it is a good Joker story. It is a good one. I was just a little bit like, when like there's a part when like Black Mask starts to kind of laugh and cackle and bob his head a little bit. I'm like, oh no, yep, it's him,
Yeah.
So he pulls the mask off. But
well, that's kind of like in Arkham City. I remember too. It was like, okay, well the Joker was the big boss the first one. Like, okay, whatever, that's fine.
Ra's al Ghul and Hugo Strange.
And then he starts becoming. It's like, oh, okay, I guess Joker is actually a much bigger character.
Well, that one, it doesn't matter so much to me because you have it's like 2 separate goals happening going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. And you're dying. Joker has a bomb, I guess like his venom bomb or whatever, is going to go off in the city. And then Ra's al Ghul and Doctor Strange are just trying to like bring you down, trying to take over you.
Yeah.
And then, so just these 2 things happen to go on at the same time. They're equally as big, just Joker is more the personal one.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true.
And this one, though, it's like, no, right now where I'm at, Joker's out of commission, but who knows if he's going to come back or not. Mm-hmm. Because what ends up happening is, there's a point in the game, and I give the game credit for doing this, because it really feels like this could be, like, is the game that short? Because I got to this point where you're going up against Joker, not all the assassins, most of the assassins are gone by this point, and you're going up against Bane, and Bane's kind of like, he doesn't even like Joker. He's just like, stay out of my way, I'm going after Batman. I'm not doing this for the money, I'm going after it for Batman.
Yeah.
And then, there's a huge problem. Like, this has to be like the end of the game or near the end of the game. There's so much is going on. And what ends up happening is you have this really cool boss battle with Bane. It's kind of, and then at some point, like, Joker falls off the edge. The cops come. He falls off the edge of this huge building. You go down. You catch him. He's like, why the fuck did you save me? He's almost kind of like, Joker's kind of like, why did you save me? I don't get it, And then he ends up going to jail. And then you actually play as Joker for a second. He goes to jail. And he's being interviewed by Harley Quinn, of course.
So you get the tie around there.
And then you go into his mind. You get this like 10-minute like scene where you're inside his mind. You play part of it, and it kind of throws in a little bit of Killing Joke, and you place him as Red Hood. He's walking down.
Oh, that's cool. They actually did bring the Red Hood thing
This
in.
twisted. He has this long monologue going on. There's very little gameplay, but you're kind of walking down this twisted-looking carnival with like clowns that breathe fire and shit. Looks all kind of demonic and shit. And then eventually, like a demonic-looking Batman comes up behind you and tosses you into like this tornado of like chemicals and stuff. So, yeah, exactly. So he says it's kind of weird because it's like I hate him, yet at the same time I found someone I can relate to, you know. So
yeah,
it's kind of one of those. It's like it's actually a pretty good part, and then from there on in, it continues on, and Batman's looking for Joker, and that's not Joker, Bane. And then Firefly came into play, and I'm dealing with Firefly right now. And that's where the fucking glitches started, when I was dealing with Firefly.
See, for me, it's like I haven't got nearly as far because there was fucking movies and shit in the way. It's just like there's crap in the way. There's like Batman time. Mm-hmm. But I had glitches like, I mean, right with the penguin part or whatever, it's like my waypoint fucking disappeared. So it's like, go, chasing on the penguins. Like, where the fuck do I go? And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll go check out the Riddler thing. Maybe they're actually making that more of a bigger part in this game. Maybe like that's what I gotta do. And it's like, nope, that just means I gotta... Apparently I can't go find the Riddler. I gotta go out and beat up like 80 guys. You gotta take down all the stupid little satellites and pick up a bunch of other crap along the way too. It's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. There's like so much of it too. You look at like one little section of the map, there's probably about 10 sections. And one section's got like 15 things you gotta go to. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's one of those things, the kind of Riddler shit, I'm like, you go, I do it for a little while, I'm like, go fuck yourself. I got other shit to do.
Well, it's like, as with the other, because I played through the first Batman, like, again, like, before this game came out. I was going to play through Arkham City, I just never got around to it. Mm-hmm. Just time ran out. But it was like, I picked up the trophies whenever I saw them in the first one, because they gave you experience points, but I didn't feel like I needed to pick them all up. Mm-hmm. If I can get them, good. Yeah. If it looks like too difficult, fuck that, keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it looks like I don't know how to get to there, I don't care that much.
That's how I was.
And here it's like what it was too. It's like if I see a group of guys and the one guy's green, okay, I'll go down, beat the guys up, get the experience points, whatever. Mm-hmm. Check that one off the list. But later, going back to the glitches though, when I was battling Deathstroke, which was a really cool part anyways, the first time I beat him, the fucking thing just didn't load up the video. It just went and most of the Xbox, the one thing I can't stand about the Xbox sometimes is that like, like when like a PlayStation 1 would glitch out, I think even with a PlayStation 2 it would be fine too. You could literally go in there and fucking open the disk drive, close the disk drive. Let's try this again. Okay. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get the feel going. We're gonna get it back here. Xbox mostly just looks at you and goes like, fuck, I read it, fuck, abort. It's just like, get this thing out of me.
It explodes. She ejects the disc out.
Well, that's what it does. It like treats it like it just got a fucking like. It treats it like Prometheus, like, it's like, get this fucking thing out of me! It's like, no, don't stop, you might load up!
I need a space abortion, go!
Yeah, it's just like, so sometimes like, why the fuck do you do that? But it didn't do it on this one at least, and it like freak out and like eject it really quickly, and it's like, because a lot of times when a game freezes, sometimes you can get it back going. Not all the time, but you can, but Xbox doesn't give you...
Seems less and less this day and age.
Well, if the Xbox is no way, it's like, nope, fuck that, I couldn't read... It skipped twice, fuck you, I'm ejecting it.
Yeah. You didn't touch me, did you? Because if you touch me, I'm just going to be a huge fucking gouge around the whole disc.
Yeah, don't do whatever you do. Don't touch me. If I tip over, I will kill your disc.
And people, like, more like some of the things in the Xbox, like, when that was first happening, they're like, well, did you touch it? Oh, by accident, I kind of nudged it. Like, well, that's your fucking fault. It's like...
Well, it's gotta be more than just, like, a touch. You can't just, like, lightly touch it.
Well, I know if you had the game, like, beforehand, like, it was, if, like...
Well, it's kind of like, like video game systems, they tell you, like, they have them standing up nowadays. It's like, no, keep playing them.
Don't do that.
No, think of gravity.
It's also kind of one of those things like, yeah, we didn't know smoking was bad for us this whole time. Apparently, like, inverted systems is the same way.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, if you got something to
wedge... blowing in the cartridges.
Yeah, blowing in the cartridges, that's our smoking of video games. Because now apparently it's bad to do that, but it worked really well for so many years.
If I pull out my old Game Boy, I still do it, and guess what? It works.
It's a fucking habit. Yeah. Habits are hard to break.
Exactly. I did it on my iPhone the other day, and that worked too.
But like at the Xbox, okay, say if you had something to put it against that no matter what, it won't fall forward, backwards, left or right. Okay, maybe. But then again, now I feel like it's going to be too heated up because there's shit against it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, whatever, fuck, I'll just put it down. The Wii is fine because it's kind of got, like, they thought of it. They're like, we'll put a fucking little stand below. It's got a circle thing on it so it doesn't tip over really.
Yeah.
I mean, it can still go, but the chances are very slim.
Mm-hmm. They also, well, I know the next, I don't know if it was PlayStation or Xbox, but they said, like, the next system... Use the inverted like system at your own risk.
The standing up part?
Yeah, at your own risk, they said.
Well, yeah, because that's how it's supposed to be. Is like they're supposed to be like that. I know because like I think it's something with the disc, because I guess once again, gravity, it spins, and it's not having much pressure on it or something like that. It's a disc, not a record. It's not like, when you store records, like, horizontally, they get warped over time.
Yeah.
But, no. Yeah. But yeah, there's already kind of glitches in the game, and Batman, it always makes me wonder, because whenever I play a game, and there's just kind of, like, these, they're not, like, horrible glitches, like, it's like, because Batman saves, like, mostly, like, every, like, 2 minutes anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. It's not like an older game that would have been like, fuck, I didn't save for the last 3 hours.
Oh, I know.
Fuck this
we
game.
actually have to find a save
We're
point.
like, you put the game away for 3 months now, because you're like, fuck that game. Fuck you and your fucking game.
You kind of get that way sometimes. You would get very spiteful back in the N64 days.
And then you come back to it later, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Take me back. Just take me back, please. Yeah.
It's like when I first got Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, I had that same problem. There was a fucking elevator, and it froze there. Or no, because what happened was there was an elevator supposed to go up, and I was like, well, this seems like a good place to save it. I'll save right here. When I come back to the game, the elevator never moves ever again. And at that point, I was like, fuck this game, fuck. And then I came back like 2 weeks later, and I was like, okay, I'll beat this game now.
Yeah.
And I beat it like in 4 hours, so I was like, oh, I guess that wasn't that big of a deal then. Because once you kind of forget, it's like, once you've already played through it once, you're like, oh, I can actually whip through this.
Yeah, like, I'm kind of wondering how close I am to being done with the actual main story. Because
Now, are you doing any of the side stuff along the way? Not the Riddler stuff, but like the rest of them?
I've done a little bit, not a whole lot. I'm just figuring. I know you said the whole thing with Mass Effect. If you you have this habit of going back and saving everybody in Mass Effect.
Well, Mass Effect 2, it had the thing where I was like, because at first I was like, every single time you meet a person in Mass Effect 2, they're like, hey, Shepard, no, I know we got this real important mission going on, but there's something going back on my home planet.
You take my daughter to dance or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. He's like, she needs to get to the prom. She doesn't got a date. She looks like a fucking horse. But I mean, come on, Shepard. Shepard, come on, man. I mean, if you show up, everybody's gonna love her. So you got all these missions that people keep fucking giving you and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. Whatever, fuck it. We'll have time at some point. And then right when I was getting towards the end of the game, I was like, okay, this is the last mission. So you know what? I'll finish off all these side stories. You always get experience and what have you and extra shit. But the game kind of tells you, it's like, oh, Shepard, we got like 2 fucking hours to get there and save your crew, And they take all your small crew. That's what happens. They take like the fucking janitors. They take your like medics, your toilet cleaners, the guys that run in your engine room, the guy at works at the library on the ship.
Space library.
Yeah, the guy that maintains the pet store. Like, all these guys have been taken, captured down there. And you're like, oh, okay, I gotta go and save them. That's the whole point. That's like the ending of the game. But it's a video game, so you don't go like, it's not like it's real life where there's actually time involved. I was like, of course, why would you give me all these side missions? So I go and do every single one of those side missions. And then when I go to the final mission, you get down there and all these people have been killed. Like, violently. Like, just like massacred. And it was like... And I was like, what the fuck? I went and looked online. I was like, well, what the fuck is it? What do you mean? How could I not? Like, it's like, what did I do wrong? Well, it's like, oh yeah, if you don't go there in like 2 hours, everybody dies. You get the different ending.
You know that.
And I was like, fuck that. I guess whatever. Next round, I will know what to do.
You know, the people on the ship are like, I've been scrubbing the toilets on this ship for like 4 years, but Shepard, he's gonna come around, man. He's gonna save us, and we're gonna get promoted, and things are gonna go good.
He took that one guy's daughter to prom. You know what I mean? He allowed a black guy on this ship. There's no other black guys here. I mean, look, it's Shepard, man. He's a nice guy, but he's got aliens. He's got everybody on here. He's like, come on, man. He's like the Jesus of space, even though he kills people. He's the greatest guy. I mean, I'm glad I'm not on anybody else's ship.
And then like, don't worry, Shepard will be here. I mean, I know scrubbing like alien shit isn't all in vain. I'm gonna get promoted one day, and then
I really don't like being tied up to this wall and having this alien creature eat at my nuts. But I have faith in Shepard.
I have faith. I'm sure there's a church for that somewhere online. I have faith in Shepard.
Yeah, it's just like London's like, oh yeah, sorry guys. Apparently, all these guys had daughters that needed or somebody in their life that needed to go to prom. I get experience points for it. It's okay. You learn a little bit about the characters too, You
get bonus if you bang them after prom.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, I had to bang all 3 of my co-workers here.
You tell them that as they're dying, like you just come to them like, did you get her to prom? Like, well, her date didn't show up, so I took her. Oh, that was like, I also fucked her. What? Just dies right there in your arms.
Well, you're just like, well, if you fucked all the other girls, why didn't you fuck me? Well,
you're ugly.
You worked in the library. These people go on adventures with me. I mean, and this one chick, she runs like my computer. She does everything for me. Fuck. course I'm gonna fuck her. if I didn't have her, I couldn't navigate space. I mean, I know what you're thinking. I think you're thinking Seth Green's the guy that drives this, but this chick, she points the fucking destination out. What am I gonna do about her? Only thing I know how to do is shoot and kill.
Space Jesus at work.
He fucks anything.
Fucks and kills anything. Space Jesus.
So speaking of which, going back to Batman.
Batman,
So
yeah.
now it's like, oh, okay, there's the Mad Hatter mission or whatever. I'll go to that next or whatever. And so now I just kind of like, whenever side missions appear up, as long as they're like worthwhile doing ones, like, I'm not one of those people now. It's like I got to get 100% done. It's like no, those days are fucking done. That's for poor people that only get like one game a year.
You say it was such disgust. Those poor people.
Blech. I can afford to have 2 or 3 games. You know, I'm living life here as like a middle class gamer. So not really middle class, more just like I got 2 or 3 games on like the $10 rack.
It gets the point across though. No, but no, I'm gonna do the side missions. I don't think it's gonna do anything with that. I'll do the side missions eventually. I'm more just playing it straight through, and I didn't have any trouble with glitches until later on. Until like I started going, there's like you have to go to this bridge and go to the inner workings of this bridge to deal with Firefly and some of his like mercenaries or whatever, and all the people in there, they just started like kind of like characters get hooked on a corner, like
You start running in the little
into a corner or something. Another guy kept on going up and down the ladder, up and down. He'll like jump down, then go back up the ladder. Jump down, go back up the ladder. And I'd be stalking in like night vision, just waiting for the guy to come out. I'm just like, come on, like fuck it. I just get up and just like punch him out from behind, go back and just wait for someone else.
Yeah.
So, and then like it reached
There's
got
a couple
really bad.
floating guys too.
And then yeah, that's where the game. What happened was there's this part. It's a cool part. The bridge actually explodes and debris falling down and all that, and you're actually just you're just having to jump from like burning piece to burning piece and all that kind of stuff. And then you have to go along like this kind of like railing, and there you see like there's kind of a cliff around there. You can kind of see there's some guys up there, and then I get up to this fence. Yes. And I get up there, and then something happened. I think I died, or someone shot, a sniper took me out or something. So I do it again, and I jumped off there prematurely or something. But I get up there again, and for some reason it won't grapple. My thing won't grapple like it did before.
And it
and
shows
on top
like
of that,
the RB thing. I'm thinking like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it doesn't even show the RB thing. It's just not grappling.
Oh.
And then I also walk back out there, and I see there are guys just floating out in the middle of like air, and it's not like Firefly. It's just guys just standing out there like in plain air, just got their arms out. What, bat? Come at me! Come at me! You know, just so just like really. So that's when I turned off the game. Like I gotta go see that new Ridley Scott movie. So.
Oh yeah, and it looks like whenever I play games like that, and I think about it, it's like, okay, they got like 30 or 40, if not more, testers playing these games.
Mm-hmm.
And these things don't seem like weird things like, you know, if you run towards this fence and you try to jump over at a certain angle, you're able to get behind like the area you can't be. Like it's not something like that where it's like, okay, that just looked like that was just dumb luck that somebody explained on the internet. These are ones that just like, this just seems like it's like this isn't straight gameplay. Straight. Like I'm not going anywhere off the charts. It's just linear gameplay. Yeah.
And there's like three or four guys just standing up. Firefly's flying around out there somewhere too. But you see these guys just standing there, come at me, Beth, come at me, just standing out in the middle of like what's a cliff. So it's just like
and to me it's those ones like too, it's like, I mean, like all video games have like some form of glitch right now there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, sometimes it's like they're not, if they're glitches that don't really affect the gameplay, just like, oh, that guy's floating, he died and for some reason he's floating, you know.
Yeah.
Like to me it's like, whatever. And I heard there was a bunch of glitches in GTA 5. They had a bunch of that in the news.
I actually didn't even see any when I played it, but
and then, you know, it seemed cool because like Rockstar's like, here, we download the patch, we fix it all, and here's $500,000 for gameplay money.
That's awesome.
When I first saw it, because the article said $500,000, I'm like, what the fuck? They're giving out $500,000? Like, we got so much money from you guys that
we're gonna give it back.
We're giving it back. You only paid $60 for this game, but here's $500,000.
Just the CEO of like Rockstar, just on a giant blimp playing Prince, just throwing money out there. There's a giant like float of, I don't know, Trevor. It explodes. Just it's like Joker laughing.
Parade.
It's like Joker.
Well, you know, it's like I got the new Pokemon. I got Y because I assumed everybody else would get X. I don't know what it is. Whenever I buy those games, I always go, "What color would like people not get?"
Mm-hmm.
Like when there was black and white, I'm like, everybody's gonna get black, so I'm gonna get white.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when there was, I think Fire Red and Leaf Green, I'm like, everybody's gonna get Leaf Green because nobody could get that before. I'm gonna get Fire Red and so on. I mean,
Wasn't Fire Red technically the blue version or something?
I guess
So
it was
they
kinda
mixed it
more-
up on both of them somehow.
Oh no, because leaf green I think was technically the blue version, or green. And back in Japan, there's instead of red and blue like there was in the U.S., there was red and green. Which I don't know who said like, you know what,
Americans like blue.
Americans can't stand green. Or,
It's not red, white, and blue. It's red, white,
which
and
is
green.
funny when you say Americans don't like green because they seem to love money.
Yeah.
But anything else that's green other than money confuses them.
Probably was one of those kind of things.
If we gave an American a green copy of a game, he'd probably take it to the store and go like, "Oops, I thought this was my 20." They're that fucking stupid over there.
They do sometimes think that way. Like, oh yeah, this Mario game's way too hard for him. So just give him this Yoki,
Yeah, give
Doki
us
Doki
a
Panic
parenting
game.
game. You know, we made it for like Middle Eastern people or something, but fuck it, give it to Americans. They're too stupid to know the difference. You put Mario's face on there, they'll just think it's Mario.
I think Shigeru Miyamoto really says Americans will fucking buy it as long as it's good graphics.
You know, I don't know if it's like, oh yeah, he said it, but that was like Donkey
Donkey Kong, yeah.
He was like Donkey Kong Country. He's like, that game is fucking stupid. And the only reason Americans like it is just because it has good graphics. And it's like, I don't know what you tried, but I'm like, Donkey Kong's fucking amazing.
Well, that was actually made by Rare, so I guess.
Well,
maybe
yeah,
it's
I guess
like,
maybe he's just pissed off. He's like, I fucking made Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Fucking English people making a fucking game. Fuck them. Fuck those English people. What good have they ever done to Japan? Just like, you know what? This is the breaking point. You know, everything else, that was fucking nothing. That was a cat pee for all I care. Now it's a fucking Donkey Kong. They take everything from us. I invented. I mean, I know it's kind of, you know, it looks like we robbed King Kong, but you know, different.
fuck them.
Fuck. English. Rare. You go to Xbox.
Yeah, that didn't really pan out.
You give us that Donkey Kong back though. God forbid you take that. Oh, do you hear that they're making though for the Xbox One? This is probably like the only game I can think of that's like really the big selling point at the moment.
Perfect Dark something.
No, not Perfect Dark, but a game that they haven't made, a Nintendo game that hasn't come out since the Super Nintendo, or I guess N64, Killer Instinct.
I remember that game. Yeah,
They're making a new one.
it was kind of like the other like Mortal Kombat, wasn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know, I never played this N64 one actually, but the Super Nintendo one was a really cool game, and that one actually still holds up pretty darn well too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in a sense, I think it holds up better than actually the older Mortal Kombat do.
I don't remember clearly. I just remember it was like, this is We Wish We Were Mortal Kombat. That's what I kind of remember.
Yeah, it had kind of more like, that one kind of focused more on like beast-like characters and stuff, I guess, like pre-Tekken and.
It was still a 2D fighter generally, right?
Well, yeah, it was 2D with like kind of like 3D graphics,
models,
yeah.
yeah.
And I don't. It might have had some of that kind of like where they digitized characters.
Did Rare do that claymation?
They
fighter?
clearly didn't digitize like a Velociraptor though.
Did they do a claymation?
No, you talking
fighter?
about the clay fighter?
Fighters? Who did that one?
I want to say it's like Acclaim did that.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, no, that's not yeah.
That just seemed like one of those very kind of like 90s. It's clay, you know?
Clay man, it's 90s. Look, it's a snowman. He's gonna kill you.
Yeah, you didn't have like a violent version of Gumby or something like that.
Yeah, that was literally like one of those ones. Like it was just made for like it wasn't just made for like demented kids. Sounds weird, but the first place I played that at is like well, my mom like worked in special ed forever, so we went over to like this like one of those houses that's got like 8 special ed kids or whatever. And I was playing Super Nintendo with one of them upstairs or whatever. And the only thing I said about that special ed kids, I was like, whenever you beat them, they always hit you. And it's like, dude, it's like almost like why you hit, man? I don't want to be hit. It's not my fault I beat you at Clay Fighter.
You lose! Like, just slaps you.
Yeah, they're always like big and bulky. And I was like a small kid, like, don't hit me anymore. Don't. I just want to play the video games.
He's like just crunching his like knuckles together.
You come to my house, you play by my rules. Sorry, I just came along. I had nowhere else to go.
You say you're sorry. Say you're sorry.
I didn't do anything wrong, man. It's a game. It's a fucking video game, man.
Right, yeah. So you went to they hit you, and that was one of the games.
Well, because that's the first and probably one of the only times I remember playing Clay Fighter. I don't ever remember playing it at that. I never played the N64 one.
I remember just the Demented Snowman. That's all I remember from
Because
that
he was
game.
on like the cover and stuff. And it was just one of those ones that just totally like 90s. You guys like Celebrity Deathmatch? Well, guess what?
I did notice there was kind of like a resurgence of like just clay shit in the 90s, because that's when like they brought Gumby on Nickelodeon. I went through like a Gumby phase
I
for a
remember
little
watching
while.
Gumby. The Gumby used to also be on.
They even came like a straight to video like Gumby movie around that time.
Yeah, because Gumby kind of came back. Then you had Celebrity Deathmatch, which was like, you know, like you watched Gumby as a kid, but guess what? You're 15 now. Get ready.
You're a man. No.
Get ready, because Marilyn Manson's your fucking icon, right? Yeah.
Is
90s.
Wasn't like I remember I never really found Celebrity Deathmatch that funny. Really, I always thought it was just kind of whatever. There's some funny stuff in it.
It was kind of like it was more of I think it like would draw people in because you'd be like, oh, we got it was like Backstreet Boys versus Spice Girls or something like that. Yeah, they draw you with kind of things like that. She'd be like, oh, okay.
It was like South Park Kids versus the Spice Girls, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that wasn't like the famous one I remember. And it was one of those, it's more like, it's like somebody would explain to you, like, like, oh yeah, well there's this one where like the Spice Girls were in it and fucking Marilyn Manson came at the top and he dropped this humongous like platform on them and they exploded out and their tits went flying to the audience. You're like, what the fuck? What kind of show are you watching?
It was kind of like, because in the 90s, there always would... I mean, kids just fucking lie in general, but there would be, like, those kids that would, like, lie to you about, like... We talked about, like, some episodes ago. They're apparently, like, the X-rated Pokemon episodes they never brought to America. Or, like, there's the episode, like, in Dragon Ball Z. It's, like, Goten had to get there somehow,
There's the Vegeta fucks Bulma one. It's an entire episode of that.
Yeah.
They're, like, in the shower, and they have, like, descriptions, too. Like, they really thought this out.
Yeah,
it's not like they're even coming up on it like the spots. Like, they were at home like at night. Like, you know what? I'm gonna prove to everybody that I'm so cool.
Nobody saw the motion you were doing. What Spencer just did is he had his hands behind his back and play like this, like about
I was
his
picturing
head,
him like laying in bed, being like, "Yeah, guess what?
Looking like at a No Effects
Tomorrow, Billy."
Looking at a No Effects poster on his fucking ceiling, made with a real big fish poster right fucking next to it.
System of a Down one.
They'll think I'm so cool.
I'll be totally loud in the club.
I'm gonna go in there with my sideways hat.
90s.
Like sweater tied around my waist, yeah.
Baggy pants.
That's what that kid usually was, too.
Yeah.
Usually was. Back to Batman, though.
Oh, actually, even speaking of other Sweet 90s, though, is like... This in the long roundabout way, this actually goes back to, like, talk about Pokemon Y.
Uh-huh.
That game has a fucking glitch in it that I read on the news, too. That, if you save in, like, one of the big main towns you kind of get to right away... Mm-hmm. If you save anywhere near... And there was, like, some things, too. It was like, don't save next to a taxi cab. That makes it worse. Or whatever. The game could be corrupted or something like that.
Oh.
And then Nintendo's like... They said, like, in Nintendo Japan, they're thinking about releasing a patch, but nobody confirmed anything on America.
They probably will. Maybe hopefully they're going to do the translations or something, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I know. Well, I looked... When I first heard, I was like, oh, fuck. I gotta go online. I was like, okay, there's no patch for this game yet, but...
Maybe you'll be alright.
It's okay. Well, yeah. Well, first, when I was sitting there reading, I was like... Fuck! Is that where I saved that? Mm-hmm. That was like one of the last towns I was at.
You gotta.
My god!
You gotta say because I remember you pulled out your like 3DS first thing is when we were waiting. We don't usually go to the midnight releases to video games just because we're older now. But
well, it's like one of the ones you said you get the game, you're like, well, it's like bedtime by this point. What am I gonna do? Go home and play it? I have to get up in the morning.
Well, I had a lot to do the day the next day, so I figured I'm just gonna go home and play it all night, and my day kind of starts later in the day.
And it is always kind of fun. It's just something different,
So, and I remember that while we were waiting, you just pull out your 3DS. Like, you want to see something fucked up?
Oh yeah, because I was like, dude, check out Pokemon. It's fucking amazing. But then like the first thing is like, they have this thing where it's almost like a Gigapet thing for Pokemon, where like. You can kind of go in there and you can feed your Pokemon and you can look at them and you can give them like couches and shit to sit on.
Couches?
It's like this little if you look at the bottom
inside
screen,
the Pokeball or something? Is that what it takes?
That must be what it is.
There's actually a world in there.
Yeah. So you go in there and stuff, and then it's like, and I was like, dude, Ryan, check this out. So the first Pokemon I chose like the Frog Dye or whatever, and then he evolved into something else that I can't pronounce or remember.
It's blue and it's a frog.
It's blue. It's the second.
It has it has like bubbles for like a mane or something.
And I was like, dude, check this out. Watch. See, look, you could scratch the Pokemon on the head with the stylus. See, he likes that. But guess what? Move down, scratch his balls. Look, he likes that even more.
Starts playing some slow jazz as you do that.
Well, it's so funny because the thing starts smiling, open his mouth wider, like, yeah, you keep doing that, boy. They call you master, but really, who's the one that scratches the balls around here? And the funny part is, like, you take a Pikachu out, and then you go to, like, do it. It's like, oh, Pikachu likes his head scratched. Then you go down to scratch his balls, and then he gets this look on his face, like, don't sexually assault me, man. I ran away from Ash because he tried to fuck me at night once.
I just see that just being so...
I thought he was gay this whole time, and then all of a sudden, he was in bed. He was just like, Pika-Pee! Pika-Pee! I don't know what the fuck was going on. I had to jump like multiple continents away from. I couldn't be in Kanto anymore. It was just not worth it. He followed me, man. He fucking followed me.
You just see Ash like peeking around like a fucking peeking around like a bush. He looks all like fucking ruffled up. He hasn't showered like in months. It's like Pika-Pee. Oh fuck, he found me again. I changed my social security number and everything.
I saw Brock molest his Pokemon, but they seemed into it, man. It was like something different. I'm fucking Pikachu. I'm the cute one. Fucking cute one, man.
I started heroin because of this. Can't you tell?
If this is what happens, okay, I think it's all over and everything. And I'm in this fucking Pokemon X and Y world. Whatever happened to the colors, fuck if I know. And this guy catches me, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so much different now. What's the first thing he fucking does? He takes that stylus out. He scratches me on the head, and then when he's done not looking, he's scratching my balls. Because he told me his fucking frog dyer or whatever loved it.
Holy shit. And then after that, he just puts me in the fucking Pokeball. It doesn't even train me. I'm just there to be my fucking ball scratched. That's all it is.
And then he throws me a donut and tells me to fucking eat it.
Slowly, for my pleasure. Yeah, he looks me in the eye while I eat it too. If I don't look him in the eye while I eat it, he like slaps me.
He slaps me and beats me. And tells me he's gonna put me back in the PC.
I'm thinking about going into the PC.
The PC's fucking worse, man.
I'm the prison bitch in the PC.
Think how many fucking Pokemons are stuck in a Pokemon Red copy that have been in that PC since 1998. They've been stuck in there. They don't even go out in the wild or anything.
It's just like
they tell you they go to Bill's house. But Bill he lives in a fucking one-room apartment.
Bill's actually just the manager.
Can't even put a pool in there.
Bill's just the manager. He oversees it online. Really, inside the PC, it's just a bunch of fucking prison blocks, and it's kind of like Hostel. That's where all the Rattatas go. That's where all the Pidgeys go that no one fucking wants.
They just get left there just because somebody had to catch them all.
That's where the fucking Farfetches is. The Clancy, the Mr. Mimes, the ones no one gives a fuck about.
The Pokemon that you can't evolve, so fuck it.
Oh, fuck.
But I'll say this, though. Fucking Pokemon X and Y is literally the coolest Pokemon since Red and Blue.
Really?
It is that fucking amazing. Not only that, okay, you start off and they give you, your usual starting Pokemon. So like, here's 3 Pokemon that just wish they were Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle.
That's what they've been doing since Gold and Silver. We wish they were Red.
And then, like, the cool thing about it, though, is, like, when you kind of go out into the world, it's kind of like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll give you some new Pokemon, but here's a bunch of classic Pokemon. I mean, in my first forest area, it was like, oh, there's Caterpies, there's fucking Weedles, Pikachu's, like, Pidgeotos and whatnot. It's like, I feel like I'm back home again, you know? It's not just to a point where it's like, I have no idea who any of you guys are, and I'm afraid of what you might turn into. And then to top it off, like, when you finally meet the professor of the game, it was so cool. It's like, oh, that battle's badass. He's got a Charmander, a Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. That's cool. And then when you beat him, he's like, which one you want, man?
I'm just kind of waiting
You pick it, man. You want Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle? You're like, are you fucking serious? You're just giving this out? I don't have to, like, beat the entire game, or I don't have to, like, trade it from somebody who somehow got the... You just tell me, you're giving me one? I mean, it's been like an hour and a half in this game. You're just going to give me this fucking thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Here you go. Take it. Enjoy it.
I don't fucking want it.
I don't fucking want it.
The other ones are going right into the PC.
And then, like,
as soon as you get like the Charmander, it's like, thank you. It just mouths, thank you.
I don't want to go back to that PC.
And you start to scratch him. It's like, oh no, it's even worse.
Scratch my balls all you want as long as I'm not on the PC.
No, I was gonna say, every like time you get like the only ones I really played was Red and Blue, and then the one before this one, Black.
Yeah, no, the one before this one was actually Black too.
Oh yeah, Black. All right. Well, I've played Black. I played Black, and I didn't even finish it. I got to finish it at some point. But I'm assuming nearly every game, it's always somebody with a PhD handing you your Pokemon license and your first Pokemon. I'm just waiting for it to be some guy that lives down the street or something, or just some like fucking hobo who just like,
hey kid, you want to be a Pokemon master?
he has like a Raticate for like he attacks like people like give me your fucking change. You know? He needs to get his drug-
Raticate, buy an attack now. Bite his dick off. They both laugh. They look identical. And then he fucking jumps on the Raticate and just starts running down the road.
He's like
Fuck
riding
you
it.
later.
He's like riding it.
It's like, yeah, it's like this crazy hobo guy. And you're not this like privileged kid, because it seems always like, you know, you're this one privileged kid in town because the only other guy that lives in this town is Gary.
It's kind of like one of those things like you live in these towns kind of like, I almost imagine that there's some sort of like weird government system, like the most privileged the people get to leave when they're like 10 or whatever to go become masters. But after that, it's like, well, our whole society is built around these
People that don't want to work, they just want to train, fight, and...
Yeah, so like our whole society is built around people that just want to go live their dreams and catch Pokemon and not work. So I guess we have to serve them by running Pokemon shops and medical centers.
Well,
and that's,
I wonder, I really wonder if all the people that run like stores and other business Pokemon are all failed trainers.
like it's like whenever Ash or Brock or Misty goes in like buys like a few Pokeballs, oh thank you, they just spit on him and they just walk out like know your fucking place.
You lost.
This is a hierarchy, and you're the way down here, bitch. You know. Then like they like looks at the kid, spits right in front of him, like, Daddy, why'd that boy spit in your face? Because he's better, Susie.
He was better. He beat me 25 years ago. Now we just have to live in our cottage and sell Pokeballs for a living.
Like we're one of only 2 cottages in this whole like town of Viridian City.
We just serve all these fucking people that come by and all they do is cockfight all day. Really, when it breaks it down, that's what they're doing. They're out there fighting chickens. That's really all it is. You know what? I'm gonna fucking say it. Nobody else is saying it in this area. Nobody is saying it. You all think you know what the Pokemon are thinking, but do you really?
It's like, yeah, like the Pika-Pee. It's just like really just subtitles like, get me out of here, please kill me.
Why do they train us just to fight?
I can do so much more. Inside my cheeks is the cure for cancer, but all they want me to do is just shock people. What the fuck?
Speaking of other amazing things in X and Y, dude, like, none of this, like, right at the very beginning of the game, you beat, like, the first gym leader or whatever, and there's this chick outside who's like, yo, that was my sister, but guess what, here, take this experience thing. You know, they always give you, like, that experience booster.
The rare candy thing?
No, that's, where you just get a level up. Mm-hmm. Like, the experience booster where, like, you know, you equip it to, like, 1 Pokemon or something, and they get, like, a little extra experience. In this one, every Pokemon in your thing gets, like, half experience.
Huh.
So it's, like, the coolest part is, like, you know, before, like, the problem I always saw with Pokemon was, like, they give you 6 Pokemon, and really, other than the fact you need somebody to surf, fly, strength, cut, it's one of those ones, like, there's really only enough experience out there in the world to train about 2 or 3 Pokemon. Really train them when it gets down to it. So in this one's like, well, this is badass, because all my Pokemon are getting leveled up, so they don't feel like there's, like, a couple that are, like, level 20, and everybody else is, like, 68. You know, because there's a lot of that time where it's like, fuck, my main Pokemon died. Snorlax, level 20, you go out. You're dead. Fuck.
Yeah, I can see
it was worth a shot.
Yeah. Magikarp, what was I even thinking? Yeah.
So I was like, that's so badass, though. Just, like, it constantly levels up, you know? This game just almost reminds me, like, they kind of give you all these little things. It's like, they just fixes, like, the small problem in the game. And then to top it all off, I mean, the graphics, it's like a 3D world. It looks like the N64 Pokemon game we always kind of wanted.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not red and blue, like, story-wise, but it looks like I'm playing a Final... It looks like I could be playing... Strange enough, it doesn't actually look like an N64 game. It looks more like I'm playing, like, a PlayStation game, like something that would have came out...
around that time. Yeah, because when I first played Red and Blue, I loved it. Like, they should just do an N64 version. Just, it could be even a fucking remake, and I would love that as a kid.
Someday, I hopefully hope they just take Red and Blue... and they just make it an N64 game like 30 years from now. No,
we're a little late to it, but you guys said you wanted it, so here it is.
Well, here we go. At the moment, it'd be so cool if they just made one. It's like here's Red and Blue, but it's on the Wii U.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know, that's one thing I was thinking about this Pokemon games. This is how you can like chart how long it's been. It makes you kind of feel kind of old.
I'd really rather not go there.
Is every single time you wake up in like the Pokemon games at the very beginning, it's always like, oh, there's my TV set and my system, and it's like, oh, I got a Wii U now. I remember that I used to have a
SNES.
Yeah. Boy, it's been a while.
There's Mario's on the TV. For some reason, he has a bucket on his head.
Yeah, there's like that.
Do you remember that one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then there's
That was like some Japan only game, wasn't it?
yeah, I don't know what the game actually was, but I just remember
There's
the
like
TV would say that in the Pokemon.
There's like some Mario game that never came to America where it's like Mario had a bucket stuck on his head and like
he played guitar with Axl Rose.
maybe something like that. He had to fight off Slash and like Duff McKagan, you know.
It was that Activision game that was supposed to be an Axl Rose game.
There's supposed to be an Axl Rose game for
I saw a news article like a handful of months ago that said like Activision's giving Axl Rose his own video game, and I didn't know like what type it was like. It's supposed to be like a Guitar Hero one, or is it supposed to be like
hack and slash with like a
like literally you just play as Axl Rose going through like some mystical world of some sort.
just Axl Rose just like avoiding paparazzi.
And then the main villain's like Slash. He's all like evil and scary looking. He's like this big demon guy.
I imagine it being kind of like Psychonauts, like Axel's, or like Bart's nightmare, like Axel's nightmare.
Yeah, he's just got
Each level is a different band member.
he's got band members he's got to fight off, and everything plays differently.
Yeah.
And the more like the people keep touching him and stuff like that, it just gets more trippier and weirder.
Yeah.
That's how that game was. Like the more health you lost from getting hurt, whatever, it was like boom, boom, and then everything starts getting all wavy, and then things change. Like the birds that are flying by are now like bats and weird stuff.
You get demonic and all that.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool game, but that's such a hard game.
Yeah, you think, Simpsons will be fun. Like, oh no, it's really pretty
It's really hard. It's kind of frustrating sometimes, but it is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind if we go back to Arkham's Origins for a second?
Batman.
Yeah, I'm not that far in the game. I'm assuming I'm not that far. I still got a ways to go, but all in all, it's actually still a fun game. But part of it, I guess, I mean, this isn't so much a complaint. You got to be reasonable, because sometimes people expect the wheel to be reinvented every time. But I remember playing Arkham Asylum to playing Arkham City. It felt like such a huge jump. Where this one, it feels more of a little bit of the same, but it's
kind
still
of giving you, it's more of the same, but it's just with a new story more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, because Arkham Asylum, because it went from being kind of like, Arkham Asylum to like, generally into a sense, minus all the bad shit, Batman GTA.
Yeah, there's no driving or anything like that, but yeah.
But generally, just the whole open world, you can do kind of whatever you want. And then this one, actually, I think it's kind of cool how they found a way around of keeping civilians out of it, which is like...
Yeah, everybody's locked inside.
Everybody's
That's like the one thing about Batman. Is like, it's like kind of like, well, we gotta find a way to get these civilians out of here, because we can't have Batman running around, like...
Yeah, because there's a hit on Batman's head, and there's a lot of crooked cops. So, and on top of that, it's Christmas Eve, and there's a really big storm going on, so it's kind of like everything all together is
there was a Batman Returns reference in there. And somewhere in the beginning of the game on the radio frequency, they talked about like the Ice Princess falling over and lighting the tree up.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
I don't know if it just came on like one of those random chatter ones or something like that, but it was about the first hour or so I was playing the game. I was like, oh, that's clever.
Yeah, that's kind of clever. Plus, I was also thinking just Batman Returns throughout it because the whole time.
Yeah, because it's got kind of that, it's just a Christmas thing, which the Christmas thing is really cool. It's like, I wish they'd bring that more into Batman.
And they said that one of the inspirations for it was Die Hard, which I see that.
Well, yeah, Die Hard,
the ultimate Christmas movie ever made.
It's like the man Christmas movie.
Yeah. And that was actually just all around like so far I'm digging it, and they're using like they got about 4 big characters you recognize. They got Joker, Bane, Penguin, and Riddler.
Well, the thing I think is kind of cool is they got a handful of like the big ones, but then it's like kind of like, oh, okay, cool, you got Deathstroke and Deadshot.
Have you
Deadshot? I think was in the last one though.
He was, but he's not really.
I mean, he wasn't like huge, but I mean he was in it.
Yeah.
They got Mad Hatter again, which Mad Hatter, I love the way they made it. Like in Arkham City, I thought that was one of the coolest parts where like you get like gassed or knocked out or whatever, and then Batman wakes up and he's like tied to a chair, and he's just like, it's kind of, I think it started off in like first person view. Yeah, it was so fucking creepy. And there's all these thugs just in like rabbit masks sitting there.
Mad Hatter's at the end of the table.
Yeah, I was like, that's fucking awesome. It was also like in the very first one too, like the Scarecrow scenes. I liked how they really did a really good job in like the visualness. It changes the gameplay. It's like, oh, what the fuck.
Have you got the part where you go against Copperhead?
Not yet.
When you go against Copperhead, that's more or less kind of like the Scarecrow mission.
Huh.
Because she poisons you, and it's not like there's a giant Copperhead
like
looking...
watching you. You're like, fuck you, Scarecrow. Let me get my big bat signal and blast you.
Yeah, it's not like that.
My Kamehameha wave.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's more like she poisons you, and you're kind of like walking, you can't run, you're kind of like delusional, and like shadows of her will appear across the floor, and she'll be laughing, you hear her kind of like chuckling, like she'll run across the screen for a second,
See, and I like those little things in the games too, because I was just playing the first one just a couple weeks ago. And I like the one part that's like I think it's really cool is like the one the Scarecrow injects you, and then it plays the beginning scene over again, but like the Joker's like in Batman's like shoes in a sense, and Batman's the bad guy.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, like that. Like I'm like that's really cool.
And plus how demented it would get sometimes when you when you actually it's after you. I always kind of like when they actually bring in the Batman origin into these games, even though we've seen it 1,000 times. I like it because when you first get
It's just such a good story.
when you first get gassed though, and you're playing as Bruce Wayne, you're just like everything's fine. He just keeps on walking. All of a sudden, you're like lightning happens. You see a brick wall, and you're a kid. You're walking down the street.
Oh, yeah,
like that kind of thing right there. And then like you have something kind of like that in when you get done fighting Joker. And I thought I was just about done with the game. Like
Origins?
Joker and Bane in Origins, yeah. Which you're more fighting Bane. Joker's there, and then you get back to the Batcave, and you and Alfred kind of an argument, and Bruce has a flashback, and as you're walking,
one's like, I fucking hate soup. You make it every fucking night. You know, that's the one thing I hate. I can't stand soup. I mean, I eat it because I'm being nice, but there comes a point where you gotta lay down your foot in your own house.
I'm 30 now, Alfred. You serve me soup every day.
It's soup or it's macaroni and cheese. What the fuck? And why does the macaroni and cheese always have Smurfs on it? I fucking hate the Smurfs.
You know this, Alfred. You fucking know this. Thought it was a little bit of Christmas cheer for you, sir. Fuck you and fuck your Christmas cheer, Alfred.
Being experience points like Alfred wisdom.
No, what like ends up happening is I think like I gotta go get something or whatever. Like he says, I gotta go walk over to my table, and as he's after that argument, he walks over to the table, and what happens is suddenly like it does the whole thing where you're back there in Crime Alley or walk in, and you actually rather than being in that same spot, you actually see it like it's happening right in front of you. You see Martha and Thomas, and you see like little Bruce like no, that whole bit. So.
Huh, that's interesting. I remember, like, in Arkham City, you could actually go to Crime Alley, and Batman would, like, kneel down, put a rose down.
That part is actually kind of so sad. As a Batman fan, that part's sad, because you actually go to, it says, like, pay your respects. You just sit there, and, it just makes a sad song. It has a slow rotation. You hear, like, the gunshot. You hear the
Sound
pearls.
effects.
It's like, the guys that make this game, you can tell they like Batman. This isn't some, like, we got the rights to it. Might as well use it up while we have it. Have you guys played that new Pokemon game? Apparently you can scratch Pikachu's balls. Anyway, we gotta give
Batman a laser gun or something, have him go run around.
Exactly.
Like that one for Sega Genesis.
Are you gonna do that, Tom? Like, no, I'm busy scratching the Pikachu's balls right now.
I like that Mega Man game. Make that Batman game play kind of like Mega Man.
Yeah, there's that one where he
on Genesis.
Where Batman would explode when he died. He had a laser gun for some reason.
Speaking of that part in Arkham City, though, with like the flower is, I remember when I first got to that game, or when I first got that part in the game, I went down there, put the flower down, it was that sad moment where it spins around and everything, and then like I was
you hear the Hugo Strange kind of like, I would break you, Bruce, that whole part.
Yeah, and well then, the first thing I did is I shot up and I was like, okay, I'm going to the top building, and the second I got to the top building, I got sniped by somebody, fell backwards, and died right there at that same spot.
Like right in the chalk outline?
Yeah, no, literally, right where Batman fell after he got shot from off the roof, like he landed right there on that chalk outline. It was like one of those ones like,
that is such
it was almost like so sad, so weird. It was like, oh,
gotta take a step back.
Yeah, it was almost like I gotta take a break for a second. That was too much.
Especially because it's like
that's like the ending of like a very dark Batman movie. Almost.
Yeah.
Like and who's Batman killed by? Just a regular thug. It's nobody
not Joker,
special.
Not Riddler.
It's just almost like the same way his parents died. Just a mysterious face. Mm-hmm. Nothing special.
Yeah, that is one of those things. And the thing that's cool about those games is you can definitely tell these guys love this franchise because they will use like character like we got some mafia guy's kid being tortured. All right, by the Penguin. Instead of just using like miscellaneous name A or B, they actually use Alberto Falcone, which someone had to do some research. And one of the cop that's leading the manhunt on Batman is Brendan from Year One.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
That's pretty awesome right there. Just how they get all these little details,
I guess Canadians just put in more like thought and effort into these things.
Well, even that type of stuff was even in Arkham City.
Yeah, well, did they switch companies?
Not those characters, but that kind of stuff was in Arkham City.
Because I know this one's made by...
Because if you actually did some of that Easter egg searching, where I think you click down just both the joysticks and take a picture or acknowledge something. Not take a picture, but acknowledge something. Mm-hmm. There's actually like Falcone like industries. There's like a Falcone like waste management flyer somewhere, and then a little bio opened up like Carmine Falcone, you know, so
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it had little nods like that, so they knew their shit.
That's one I just like about this game is just like,
It was Riddler challenges, that's what it was.
and there's just all that little stuff in it. And the cool thing about the Origins one though, it's kind of like we got the big guys out of the way. You know, we had in a sense
We couldn't completely avoid
Joker,
them,
but
obviously.
you know we went through, let's say, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Scarecrow, Hugo Strange, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can kind of focus on all these kind of like other Batman characters that don't normally get this,
Well, I'd like to see one where it's like the main villain of the entire thing is Two-Face, or the main villain...
Well, because Two-Face, the only part that he really has in the first one, he's there for like one, or the second one, is he's there for like one scene, then it's like the Catwoman villain.
Yeah. And then, or you could use, like, maybe say, I don't really give a shit about all the Riddler side shit. Just make Riddler... I think Riddler would be a good lead villain.
Well, yeah, and it'd be cool if you actually just ended up like there wasn't that much like Riddler shit you got to pick up. Like you almost just got to like battle the Riddler or something like that. Just get to it instead of just kind of like dicking around by following a stupid shit everywhere.
I mean, generally, I think the way you could probably go about Riddler nowadays, I mean, this because there were those. I like those missions in Arkham City where you'd have to save people. That was fun. It was almost kind of like Riddler kind of functioned like Jigsaw. Where if you
had to like stop these like traps,
these death traps, where if you're gonna do like another Batman movie and you're gonna use Riddler, I think that's a good way to go about it. Like Riddler is Jigsaw, more or less. Not, of course, I'm not expecting like Batman to saw his own leg off with a rusty saw at some point, but
no, I think that like you have to solve these riddles or somebody dies, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's really how, like, some of those, like, almost like, that's kind of what makes some Batman villains cool, is the fact that they're not just always have to be brute force people. They can do things just in these weird ways that makes Batman think.
No, but it is one of those things, like...
It's almost kind of like Flash kind of things, like, are you fast enough?
Yeah, exactly.
I almost said, can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
Like from the Warriors. Just, the guy explains this whole thing, he's like, Flash, can you dig it? I thought you were gonna say, "Are you fast?" Are you fast enough? Like
that's what Professor Zoom says when he in Flashpoint. It's like, "Well, Flash, can you dig it?" He's like, everybody, even like the rogues, like, "Wait, what just happened? Can you dig it?" Are you setting me up for some kind of pun? Is there like some kind of like mole man villain beneath me?
Are we supposed to be like the Warriors or something?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be running through New York?
Clicking the bottles together. Flash, come out and play. That whole thing.
Like, I'm tall pussy.
That's like one of the biggest letdowns of that movie.
That's one of those movies, it's like, to me, that's a perfect example of a movie that could be remade. Because it's a really good concept, but the movie's just not that great.
A friend of mine, actually, James Calafiore, who we mentioned a few times on the podcast, he loves that movie, and I just like, I have it because I thought I'd like it, I'll just give it to you. And he's like so grateful. He's like watched that movie 7 times in 1 week.
Really? But maybe it's one of those movies like,
if you grew up with it.
Maybe. Yeah, at the time it came out, maybe it had more of an impact. But to me, like, I watched that movie, and it's just one of those ones, like, it's a movie that has so much potential, and there's just kind of not a whole lot that happens in it. And then you get to the very end, till like this bad guy's like, oh, it's gonna be a sweet fight. And it's like he's down one punch. He's like,
he just got his hand cut. Like, what do I want to do? I'm fucking. And you're scared of him the whole time. You know?
You just realize, oh, he just told I don't know. It's one of those movies, like, when I think of a movie that should be remade, just because it's a great concept but not that great a movie, I always go to that movie first and foremost.
No, I see what you're saying, yeah. A lot of people yell, blasphemy, but I'm kind of
funny because I try to go back every once in a while, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch it again. Maybe there's just something I'm not seeing. I've never seen it. I'll say this, I kind of like some of the jive talk that a lot of the gangsters use, like, can you dig it, suckers, and all that, and like, how they have the whole... There's the lady DJ who's like putting the word out on the street for everybody, and they end with like, sorry about that, but here's a little song for you. At the end, they start playing Eagles. Like, that's actually one of the Eagles songs I do like right there. I usually don't like that band too much, but well, no, there's cool stuff in it, but just one of those movies you're like, this movie should be just full on amazing.
No, I get you, yeah.
And if anybody kind of gives you like that, like, well, it was the 70s, it's like, no, I can point out movies in the 70s are so fucking amazing. And the 70s is one of those time periods.
Well, it could just be called The Runners, because they're running most of that fucking movie.
Yeah. Well, the 70s has some of the best movies ever, so it's like, no. I know that it's not one of those kind of things. It's not like a time period issue.
Yeah.
It's just, I just think that movie just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you there. It's just one of those movies. I bought it because, like, I was like, everyone says how amazing this movie is. I'm gonna buy it. And they were trying to almost resell it to us when the retro shit was kind of big again, like 70s retro shit. They were trying to resell it to our generation.
Yeah.
And I, of course, went out and bought it.
Well, they would have made a video game on it.
Yeah, exactly. They would have made a video game, and they re-released the movie to help go with it. So. And I bought the movie, and I was like, oh well. And I almost lied to myself. I like it a little more than I really do, but no.
Because that time on PS2 where they really were, I think they're trying to just bring back sort of like some movies. They made like that Great Escape video game.
There's a Great Escape video game?
For PS2.
I don't remember that. Do you play Steve McQueen or is it like,
Yeah, it's like, I want to say it actually came out. I remember reading about it. I think it actually did. Because I remember there's supposed to be...
Is it like you sneak out and you go do shit and you have to give you back like
I never played it.
I'm wondering what that is.
So it's one of those ones I've always kind of wanted to just go look at and go like...
They had kind of a big wave of like movie video games in like the 2000s because they also brought out like, because movies that really... didn't need a game, like the Reservoir Dogs game.
Yeah, they had like the Reservoir Dogs game came out too.
Which was like you played what we didn't see in the actual movie, but it was whatever, it was...
Yeah, but it was fun.
It was $5.
They made yeah, I know, it was $5. It was fun for $5.
Yeah.
It was worth it for $5. It was pretty fun. But yeah, they made a lot of those kind of weird... Like, it was like these movies that came out like many years ago, and they were making a game off of it.
Mm-hmm. None of them really did too good, I don't believe.
I don't think they did. I think that's probably why they stopped
I think
doing
Warriors did good, but I think that's one.
Right, yeah, probably did decent. Probably because, you got your Warriors fans to buy it.
And that was also...
They were going to make a Dirty Harry one, though, and I was
so
pissed that didn't come out.
I remember they remember the CG ad they had for it, too.
It looked so cool. I was
Clint Eastwood was actually doing the voice and all that?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like those licensed games, if you do them right, like Batman Arkham City, or whatever, or Batman just Arkham, I guess that's what you'd call it. Mm-hmm. They call the whole trilogy the Arkham trilogy. That, that's a perfect example of like, because license, because a lot of times video games, it's like they kind of have to be like, when Grand Theft 3 kind of came out, it's kind of like, well, it's like you're playing Goodfellas or The Godfather or any of those kind of movies, but
they brought Scarface, another one.
Yeah, and that one actually did pretty good because I remember that game got like. Like a 9 out of 10 or an 8.5 out of 10 or something. It was pretty high up there. Mm-hmm. And then there was the actual Godfather game. I think that's about the same time too. Mm-hmm. So there was some that did well, but I don't know if well enough to keep making more of them. Well,
Scarface is something they're always going to market that. You still see, if you drive by a flea market, you always see like a towel of Tony Montana on a $100 bill or something. So
yeah, it's like that's
always going to be there.
Yeah, that's almost like became even more popular over time.
Mm-hmm.
But well, on Batman. What do you if you had when you do like those takedown missions where like you're like hanging up on the gargoyles?
Yeah.
And you have to take down like 8 armed guards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's your favorite way to like take people down?
I'm kind of varied up. Like I'll usually, if I can,
or name your 3 favorite ways to take people down.
Take people down, probably hanging upside down from the gargoyle, using that special grappling hook that like will snap onto one guy and snap onto like say an explosive item and ram into him.
Oh, that's bad. I don't think I got that far then.
You don't have the grappling hook you don't have the thing you took from Slade from Deathstroke?
I guess I did, but I didn't know you could use it on people.
Yeah, you can use it on... What we can do is you can aim it at something...
That just sounds like the least Batman thing ever. That sounds like a Tim Burton Batman thing. What's he going to do? Oh, he's going to strap an explosive on one end and the guard on the other.
Well, it doesn't kill him, so... It's the game that doesn't kill him. It just knocks him out, apparently, but it works. What will happen exactly is you'll shoot this hook at him, and you'll aim it at somebody, and this green beam will go to different things that are in the vicinity that it's near.
Huh.
So you shoot it at that thing, then another hook shoots out into the... and
then pulls them together?
Pulls them together.
Oh, that's fucking... I did not know you could
use that. You could do that between guys, and that would just like... That won't knock them out, but that would just like... They'll be like dazed for a second, you can jump on top of them, knock them out real quick. Mm-hmm. Or you could like, do it with an explosive device or something. Like, it'll be like a, for some reason video game land, they always just have like random propane tanks slinging around everywhere.
Yeah.
So, there's that. And there's always like this thing under the they have those weird
cages.
They're like this weird cage-like thing you go under the floor. You know what I mean?
Floor cage. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The floor cage. You hide underneath there, and as they walk by, you pop
grab
up,
them down.
Yeah.
You know what's one of my favorite ways to take people down though, and you can do it like in all of them. Is I love just taking the regular grappling gun and pulling the guys and pulling them over the edge of like a railing or down the stairs.
That's fun.
The one thing about that too, because then you don't have to go run down there and punch them. Mm-hmm. They just automatically get knocked out. It's like, okay, that makes my job a lot easier.
That's always fun to do, yeah.
Or it's like, what's always fun too is like whenever there's a guy standing next to like a window or a wall, you put the explosive behind it. Mm-hmm. That's like, that one takes more effort, but it's worth it.
That's always fun too. I mean, it's kind of like you realize, like, God, it's really fucking hard to be Batman. It's just in this game, I'm having so much trouble just, like, playing this thing precisely, and always one guy comes around the corner right when you didn't see, or some shit like that.
Well, that's what I always thought made, like, from the very first one, made it really cool, is, like, you really feel like you're Batman, you really feel like a vulnerable superhero, for the fact that, like,
you just can't
make one wrong mistake sometimes, like, that could be, you could be dead, like, you know. Guns will get you really quickly.
And, like, taking on, like, 12 guys at one, like, in that brawling mode, like, that right there, you can look so badass and so good doing it. But the second you mess up once...
Sometimes you get hit, like, 3 or 4 times. Like,
it's gonna so throw you off. You get your ass kicked in, like, a matter of just seconds, you know?
or if you're not, like, fully paying attention, it's just, like, you know, it's like, you'll just get, like...
The ones that always get me are the guys with the shields. Everybody else, I feel like I can take on. Even the guy, like, I'm talking about when you got, like, say, 4 to, like... 12 guys all at once coming at you.
Not more than that even sometimes.
I feel like I can take on everybody but the guys with the shields. Those are the guys that always throw me off.
Yeah, because you gotta do like the BAA on them.
And that takes a little bit of time. And then
the problem too about that sometimes is like sometimes when you're jumping on him, you're about ready to punch him, some other guy comes by, hits you in the back of the head, and the guy gets back up again. Yeah. I mean, at least you drop the shield, which is like the main thing, I guess.
But then you can pick it back up though.
Yeah.
So
that, and then I hate when you're fighting people, and then all of a sudden there's a guy with a fucking gun. You're like,
usually kind of like circling the crowd, trying to get a good
and
shot.
And then it's like everybody's in your way. You're like, I gotta get the the gun.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when there's actually a bunch of people and there's one guy with a gun, he's not so hard to deal with because he's usually just trying not to shoot anybody else other than you. So it's always easy to just jump over to him, knock him out. They're usually the weaker guys, unless you get a guy that's covered in armor that has a gun. Like, why the fuck do you need the gun, you pussy?
Yeah, it's like
that happens every so often. You'll get like a guy just covered in like armor that takes a little while to beat, just grabbing the gun.
You gotta do like your cape splash attack.
Yeah, and then you get 3 other guys right behind you and fucking raping you more or less.
Yeah.
So
the most of the time in video games, that's always like the thing that always pissed me off is kind of games where like nobody else has, you know, like guns really, or bow and arrows or something like that. It's like, God damn it, there's somebody's fucking shooting me. Yeah. I always remember like in those like Dynasty Warrior games, like every once in a while it's like, what the get the fuck over here, stupid guy shooting you with the fucking bow and arrows. And you're like, nobody else has bow and arrows except for you bastards.
They don't even have a sword when you get close to them.
Well, yeah, because you're just like, God, it's like I'm
trying oh fuck, he's coming.
I'm trying to fight off this whole army here, and you guys are shooting me in the back.
It's kind of like, oh, we didn't actually plan for this part.
Oh, fuck, we don't know what to do when he actually comes at us with his ginormous spear.
Yeah, no, it's a good game, though. I mean, I got my complaints. I don't think it's well polished as the other one, and it's more the same, but I mean, I understand you can't reinvent the wheel every time. So.
No, I mean, the cool thing about it's like, the world's much bigger, and the one thing I think actually is pretty cool that's the different things, that detective kind. Not like the detective mode necessarily, but where Batman goes to a crime scene and really breaks it down. And you can like...
There's holograms of like what you assume happened.
Yeah, like Batman's people. Like, he's picturing it in his head, like, you know, this person was thrown through the window here and smashed through the table. But
and you can like rewind it, like holograms that appear of like figures.
And you gotta kind of like solve like the mystery and stuff. Like that's cool. And that's like the real... In my opinion, I think that's the newest thing that's in it, more than anything else. Because everything else, it's more brawling. You get different combos. You know, the kind of like the stalking or whatever you want to call that, where you take down the guys with the guns.
Well, it's fun once you get down to that last guy. There's always that one guy, like, whoa! He's like just scared, shaking, looking around. That's always kind of fun. We get down to that last guy.
Then you can just do like the dive attack on him, like, or Batman tries. There's like that one where you got the glide kick, but then there's the one if you hold down R2 where like Batman's just literally diving, like hands out, like, like I don't know if this. Like, I know Superman can do this, but I don't know if that's the safest thing for you to do, Batman. I'll take my chances. He'll break my fall. He won't be getting killed though.
I'm hoping I'm going to see more characters in this game than advertised, because they didn't advertise Croc. They didn't advertise, and like I don't think they advertised Shiva, and she's in the game. So
well, I noticed that there's like 8 or so of those, the kind of like the most wanted or whatever thing, which are kind of like all your side missions. And the only 2 I've seen so far in that most wanted is just Mad Hatter and Riddler. And
you kind of bump into Penguin, and you more or less bump into Mad Hatter. But as far as in like Riddler, but the main, but in this they call him Enigma. It's before he's actually Riddler. So. Yeah. And I want to say this: they want you to do the Riddler missions so badly because what they do, they piss me off. Because the way Riddler's so condescending, it's just like, I want to beat your fucking face in so much right now.
But but at the same time, I'm not sure if I want to go pick up 120 different things.
You'll do that. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to do it just to spite this. That's how much I got to do. I'm like, fuck you. You win. I just walk away.
Yeah. Boy. You really got the upper hand here, Riddler.
That's all Batman has to do. You just say, fuck you, you win, and just walk away. And then he's all like, whoa, you're not gonna do that? No, I don't really fucking care. You know?
I really feel if there's anybody Batman would kill, it's not the Joker. It's gonna be the fucking Riddler because it's
That's
just
how
like,
I feel because he's so annoying.
Like, the Joker's at least linear.
Yeah.
I just gotta keep taking down his trail and I find him. The Riddler though, I gotta do 120 things before I even get close to the guy. That's when I get the fucking key code to get into his house.
Then there's probably
I
a
don't
number
know
of
how big
death
that
traps.
house is though.
There's a number of death traps you have to go through.
Yeah. You're gonna send me through like the Superman gauntlet to get the Lex Luthor.
You think you would just say like, Clark, I'm on my way. Just crammed like Riddler's like in this like, little monitor room, just laughing. Superman, what the fuck? Just like bust through.
Just they start to look at each other. That was easy.
Yeah.
Just like some cheesy like Super Friends like manager
Yeah.
like do do do.
Now we're gonna beat the fuck out of this guy. What? You know?
Now we're gonna watch Marvin clean the bathroom and point and laugh.
Not you too, Wendy. I'm sorry, Marvin. I hate you like everyone else. Even Wonder Dog.
Even Wonder Dog's pointing and laughing at me.
I'll say this. I love dogs, so usually if there's a dog character, I give like a little bit of a pass. But Wonder Dog and he fucking annoys the fuck out of me.
Wonder Boy's like it's just kind of like
It's like the mentally challenged Scooby Doo.
Scooby Doo, yeah, literally. It's just like it's also kind of
Scooby Doo can get a word or two out at least.
Yeah, this dog's just obnoxious and wears a cape.
And he hangs out with Marvin. That's never a good sign.
He's friends with Marvin, so it can't be a good thing.
You know, I wonder if like Marvin, because he's always around there. The parents probably don't care. Like, look, we don't fucking care. They're just a couple of heroin addicts. Like, we don't care, Marvin. Do whatever you want. He's like,
Yeah, you go hang with your like Batman and Superman. Whatever.
he's like, he just
you just make up friends.
Just goes to the Super Friends. Like, I got nowhere else to go. Like, just you can crash on the couch. Like, no, fun. You can crash in the cot. We keep the
Aquaman
janitor's
just shows up.
closet.
You clean the shitter.
That's what we don't see in the show.
Yeah, we don't see this like okay.
This dark, seedy underbelly of the Super
Here's how
Friends.
you can live here. Wendy, you gotta make us dinner, and Marvin, you gotta clean the shitter.
Wendy, once a month you have to go home with
And Wonder Dog, you gotta vacuum.
Wendy, once a month you gotta go home with Wonder Woman. We don't know what she wants.
But that's in the contract.
Yeah.
You
I'll
know,
show you something I learned.
we heard a story where you just go to an island and just get gangbanged by a bunch of women. Which, you know, Batman says that sounds cool if it's a guy going there, but being a woman, I'm not too sure what that's like.
Yeah, so Arkham Origins, yeah.
Yeah, Arkham Origins. You know, I was thinking about when I was playing Arkham Origins, I was like, it'd be cool to see this team try to make a Superman game now.
That would be interesting. You know,
I mean, it'd have to play, differently, but...
Well, here's the thing you do. Make very little of the game. I mean, I love Metropolis, but actually don't just have bank robbers. Have it be Darkseid's men dropping down. And you make it like a
Well,
dark...
I mean, I feel like if a team like this that respects Batman so much, I feel like they would respect Superman so much that you would get 10 Superman villains or so in a game that you'd have to go against.
Because a lot of times it's like, Superman going against some bank robbers or some muggers or some shit. You know,
and you'd probably have a couple of those just kind of good way to get extra experience or whatnot.
You could probably do something like, have a team of it's like Metropolis under siege by Darkseid or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Brainiac. So you gotta, rather than dealing with just thugs, you gotta deal with Brainiac monsters or something like that.
Yeah, so you get all kinds of different things. There's enough Superman stuff out there, I don't think people ever utilize enough Superman things.
Yeah.
They kind of forget that Superman has this humongous history of crap, and they just kind of focus on the things they've seen in the movies.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But no, I think these guys could make a cool Superman game if they went off and did that.
So do I.
That, and the one thing I hope if they do another Batman one like this, is the one thing that you haven't really been able to do yet is drive the Batmobile.
No, not since probably one of the Burton games.
Yeah,
or the
Sega CD
games.
one, you could drive the Batmobile in that, and then in the Adventures of Batman and Robin on the Sega CD, you could drive the Batmobile.
That mission was fucking hard.
Yeah, I remember when you were a kid, these were so cool, and it's like, those are so fucking hard nowadays. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. I know you could drive the Batmobile on some of those other ones. They made some games that actually got really good ratings and stuff. They came out on GameCube and whatnot, and they're based off the animated series.
Oh, Rise of Zensu or whatever.
Yeah, there's Rise of Zensu, which that one's I think it's plays kind of like X-Men Legends sort of. Mm-hmm. That one actually looked.
I thought that was kind of just a brawler, kind of it would play one of the old I guess a Golden Axe or something that.
Well, that's kind of what X-Men Legends is like.
Oh, okay, all right.
X-Men Legends is you go around and it's a top-down view.
I guess it's a good point. All right,
it's pretty much a modern-day 3D brawler, and you get experience and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that one, I still want to pick that one up at some point because it always looks so cool, and I don't know why I never got it at one point. He plays Batman, Robin, Nightwing, and Batgirl.
Yeah.
And then they also made some other ones too. They made one that it had still a pretty good high rating on it. People seem to like it. It was it's called Batman Vengeance.
I think
It's
so.
based off the animated series, and apparently they added like they pretty much added like a couple episodes worth of like animated scenes in it.
Really?
Yeah, like same animation style and stuff too. So it's like you're playing a full on episode.
They actually have the voice cast in there.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that one out. I
and
heard
that,
about it.
you can get it for like under $10 on Amazon. And that one I know you can drive the Batmobile and stuff like that. They said there's a couple parts where the camera's kind of wonky, but it's like, oh, right.
It has like a cell shaded look to it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it has cell shade, and they even made a Superman game too, same style.
Not the 64 one, right?
No. These were like came out like 2006 or no, maybe a little bit older than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because 2004 or something. Because it was GameCube and
All
probably
right.
came out on PS2 and Xbox or something like that.
Okay, all right, cool.
Because there always is these kind of superhero. People always talk so much crap on superhero games, and I think it's like they
We're
just they think of like the 5 that are kind of actually bad.
Mm-hmm.
But there always seems to be a lot of ones that are actually really good.
Well,
too.
they're just now starting to get it right, I think, is the thing.
Well, no, because the way I look at it, I'm like, they got it right multiple times. I mean, now it's like, obviously, we got bigger kind of games. Because, I mean, you can't compare, like, a Sega Genesis game to, like, a nowadays game.
Yeah, what I mean by that, though, I don't mean, like, I mean, you could still have, like, a fun Sega Genesis game or whatever, but I mean more, like, I think one of the first really good ones, like, one of the first, I mean, if you look long enough, you could find some good ones there. But I'm saying we got the first, like, this is the first AAA title, like, big superhero game, it seems.
Well, I guess 'cause it's got the AAA treatment. Because, like, most ones, like games I'd say that are really good superhero games, like X-Men Legends was, like, amazing. Yeah. Like, that one, like, that one is, like, awesome. It really treats X-Men really well. Gives you all kinds of story stuff. And then, you know, I go back even, like, I mean, they're older games, so it's kind of hard to compare. Like, there's this huge action-adventure game of Batman and Arkham.
I think 2D...
And then here's, like, you know, The Adventures of Batman and Robin on Sega Genesis, you know.
I think 2D side-scrolling ones, I think a lot of those are fun. I think once we got to, like, PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, that's where it gets a little wobbly. I thought the first Spider-Man one...
The first Spider-Man one's amazing.
First Spider-Man one was really good.
Well, even though most of Spider-Mans are pretty good, because, like, the second one was pretty good, I mean, it's more of the same.
I don't know if it would hold up so well now, but I remember the Spider-Man for Dreamcast being really fun.
Yeah.
Then there was the movie ones, which were... Spider-Man 2 was really fun. Spider-Man 2 for, like...
I remember, those ones were really good, too, and they were just kind of, like, in a sense, continuations of, like, the Spider-Man PlayStation Dreamcast one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, like, you know, those were really well-made games. I remember that was one of the points, too, where they even said, like, here's an A-list game of, you know, a superhero thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they always kind of, like, said that. It's like, yeah, there are some ones that, like the Batman one where it plays, like, Mega Man that's not very good.
Yeah.
You know, or games that sounds like kind of like the Batman Returns game that's kind of, like, hard.
The thing that
it's not
sucks,
a horrible game, but it's kind of...
The thing that sucked about being a kid back then is, like, if you got a bad... You didn't know. If you got a bad game, that's the game you were stuck with for a year. So you had no choice.
But so you had
choke
to
that.
like
you had to choke that dick down.
And a lot of times, either one or two things happen. Either you ended up actually just, like, liking it somehow, some way, or you just have, like, these horrible kind of memories of some of those games.
You just, like, hate the shit out of the game while you play it.
But you'd always play it because it's, like, that's my top 5
That's all I really
choices,
got, yeah.
I remember, like that people that, like, always talk crap on, like, the Batman Forever game. I was like, I don't know, I actually kind of like that one.
I never played that one.
You never played it?
I never played the Batman Forever
It's kind of cool because it's got, like, the digitized characters, like Mortal Kombat in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a mix of, like, it's both a fighting game and, like, a...
I remember the way
side-scroller beat-em-up game.
I remember the way some of the bosses you fight. They looked like kind of like guys, like old men in '90s with canes walking back and forth.
Yeah, because they have like this weird digitized look to them.
Yeah,
but that was a pretty sweet game. I don't know. It seems like those ones like there's a lot of those ones that are really cool. And I mean, maybe if you were older at the time, if you were like 25 years old reviewing fucking Batman Forever on Super Nintendo, maybe it's not nearly as cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, or 35 even at that point.
Because I think your standard audience back then probably wasn't like 20-year-olds. Your standard audience was probably people that were like between the ages of 6 and like 15.
Yeah, it's like, because by that time, that's when like...
18 even, maybe.
Yeah, I'd probably say a little bit farther by that point. But yeah, you know, that's like still, when they're making a Batman Forever game, they're not shooting for an adult audience for that one. They're just shooting for, as long as the kids will like it, that's all that matters.
Which I'll say, Origins, even all the Arkham games, they seem like there are moments like this game should be rated M, but there's no blood in it, so it just barely avoids that. And like, because there's a part in it, it's like there's a what ends up happening is after you get stuck with I don't remember. I think it's after Copperhead it's after Copperhead like poisons you.
Uh-huh.
There's this one girl you failed to save when Joker first comes in. He gasses her and she has the rictus, wide open eyes, huge scary grin.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you get into an elevator, and her corpse is just laying... You turn to the left, and her corpse is laying in the elevator. and she slowly turns her head,
looks
and her mouth is like, if you saved me, I would still be here right now. You killed me, you know, like laughing while she says, just like, if that was in a movie, this would be rated R right now.
Well,
you know?
I'm really surprised how that Batman, like,
because you know there's so many
that
parents.
game is so, all three of them are very borderline M.
Because there's so many parents, you know, that probably bought the game thinking like,
Oh, it's you know, the fun Adam West game.
yeah, there's even Adam West costume, but they're like, oh yeah, it's Batman. Billy will like play. I like how whenever we do the parents, they're always like from like Minnesota or Fargo or some shit. Oh, poor Billy and the Batman, you know.
Yeah.
So, but it's like there's so many things in this game that would just be kind of like, oh, I don't know if a parent would let their kid see this game. A lot of parents are like, what the fuck happened? When we were kids, you know. I like this Batman more than Well, I like this Batman more than other renditions.
Is like the adaptation of whatever you want to call it. I think the Arkham Batman series is the best one. If they made the movie like
the same style,
like same look, same style, you know, same like feel, it would be the most amazing Batman movie ever.
Well, what's great about the Arkham games is because they take themselves just as seriously as, say, like any of the Christopher Nolan movies, but they have the over-the-topness in the science fiction aspect of the comic books.
Yeah, it doesn't try to ground it in reality. That's what I like about it.
And when they bring in the science fiction aspect, they don't really bring, or the fantasy aspect, whichever one you're going with, they don't really bring it to this level of being kind of like really kooky, weird, and out there. They bring it looking like very dark and very just kind of creepy and gritty, you know?
And that's what I like.
And I want to say this: did you probably went up against? You technically went up against execution. The electrocution.
Just, kick him right in the face and it's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that was because they were heavily advertising that character. Like, this is gonna be a big fight. You just walk up to the guy. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get ready to fight this guy. Punch him right in the face. You knock him out.
Yeah, mine. He just like he fucking did a drop kick like at him, and it's just like, oh, that's it. Well, they do explain things like the executioner is pissed at you. He's gonna come back and get you.
He does. He does try, but what ends up happening is Joker ends up like shooting him and then kicking him out of a building. Then he lands on top of a chandelier and dies. Then Batman goes up to his corpse like, free shit! Takes his electrocution
Hey,
gloves.
it's pretty cool. Look at this.
Yeah, he takes the electrocution
Check
gloves.
it out, Alfred. Look at him. I'm sitting back home on the video cam. Pretty badass, huh?
Yeah, and when you get to this point where if you like get enough combos in, I wish you just turn it on, but I guess you have to get enough combos in. Once you get enough hits in, like if you're fighting a big group of guys,
You put the electricity on.
the electricity goes on, and you're basically indestructible. You can knock out like big. Cause eventually, you end up going against like
We wish we were Bane.
We want to be Banes. Like they have like you may have fought them already, but there's
Yeah,
one.
I fought those guys.
There's like they have the Venom, but they're not Bane, and you can take those guys out in a few hits with these electricity gloves.
That's badass.
So and it's great for tight spots, you know.
Yeah, this was pretty cool. I can't wait to play because I also bought. I think I was like the only person that bought the 3DS one as well too while we were there.
They backed away like, whoa, are you sure?
they had it all prepared out. They had like the Xboxes stacked up and they had all the PlayStation ones stacked up. And then like I go up there and Lay's all like, oh, you gotta go get a 3DS one. Go in the back really quickly. And the guy has to go in the back like, oh, here we go. Okay, he's got that too. Because when I first heard the
Can you just get it tomorrow? Fuck.
Yeah, I was like, no, fuck you. Give me it now. I'm not gonna play it till like next week probably, but give me it anyways. But like, because like the cool thing about the 3DS one is supposed to be like a continuation of Arkham Origins, and then the thing that really sold me when I read about it, it was because it was the guys that created Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. I was like, fucking A, if these guys are on it, I'm already there.
Have the reviews been good on it yet? Have you checked or anything?
I haven't seen any of the reviews on any of this yet.
Oh, okay.
It's weird how reviews are. It's like some games, I don't know if it's just based on like if they're allowed to or not. You get the reviews like a week or two before the game comes out, and then some of them like it's almost like a month or two. You get the review like it's like by the time you either got the game or you didn't.
Yeah. I'm wondering if Arkham is going to come in the game at all. Because I know Arkham's been there for years and years and years. I'm wondering if they're ever going to... So far, they haven't mentioned Arkham at all, as far as I can see.
No, yeah. And the 3DS one's supposed to take place in like Blackgate.
Yeah.
So.
Which is cool, because I think Arkham gets a little too much exposure. And I thought it was cool when I saw Dark Knight Rises. Oh, Blackgate.
Yeah, I know. I think that's a cool thing. Well, speaking of movies, what do you think about our double feature of two completely different movies, Bad Grandpa and The Counselor?
I just assumed we were going to go on next time, we're just doing so much Batman talk. We'll talk about it now.
I'd forget what he had to say on these ones if we waited one more week.
Yeah, probably. Where are we at now?
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But
I thought Ridley Scott's one of my favorite directors. Ironically, though, I liked Bad Grandpa more.
Oh, Bad Grandpa. Strange enough, I will say this. I feel since I didn't I was almost looking more forward to The Counselor. I know like the trailer. Ridley Scott's like, if you want to ruin your movie in a sense slightly before you go see it, play your same fucking trailer for 3 months straight at every single movie you see.
Yeah.
You know, I was saying that Anchorman is a perfect example. That Anchorman 2, they've had about 3 or 4 trailers since they started showing them, and I only seen each of those trailers like once, twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
That's the best way to go about it. But The Counselor, I saw that same fucking trailer. We probably saw it at least 16 plus times.
Yeah.
Same trailer. Same fucking trailer. Every single time. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Why don't we just go, let's go with Bad Grandpa. Because I think we'll both say we'll be done with Bad Grandpa pretty quickly. It was funny. It was pretty good.
Well, Bad Grandpa is like, to me, like, that's kind of movie I like. It's just, I like how it's simple, yet it executes itself really well.
And it does the whole like Borat thing, only it's like an old man instead of like a gay guy or a guy from like Kazakhstan or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's just like, it's more like, in a sense, it's actually kind of like almost a more realistic one, I guess you could say. Because the character's not really over the top. He's just like a regular, like, dirty old grandpa, yeah. So it's just like, I think that's what, it just kind of, it doesn't feel, I mean, there's some like over the top kind of gags and stuff, but like, it just has that a little bit more realistic kind of feel, down to earth, you know, good old Southern America.
Realistic feel, seeing as like, he got his dick stuck in a vending machine. He has like this part where he gets his like dick stuck. He like pulls back his elastic dick. Like, you see all like these gray pubes sticking out. Like what the fuck? They're all back.
My favorite part is when he leans back and he's like, he can't hold on. He's like, the guy's like, oh fuck, and he comes and the guy's being held on by his dick.
The part when he goes into like the black like strip club. And he starts like...
He just takes his pants down.
And he has like this old wrinkly ball sack just hangs. Be like, what the fuck? They're backing away. And he goes up to like some like big buff dude who's dancing. He just starts slapping his balls against them.
And that guy jumps up like, holy fuck. Like there was a scorpion down there ready to sting.
I'd probably be scared too. So.
This is an old man slapping his balls.
They show... I'm curious to see, because there's another thing in the movie is he's carrying around like the dead wife of his... the dead body of his wife. Into the movie, like him and the boy just like chuck the wife of the body, body of the wife off the bridge, and because earlier in the movie she's like, she said drop her off a bridge for all she cares. So that's what we're gonna do.
So that's what they end up doing towards the end.
But then during the credits they show some like alternate takes, and they also show them kind of coming out, hey folks, we were just filming a movie. Oh my god, you know. But within that you saw a girl dressed up in all old lady makeup. So I'm kind of wondering. If they're like, there has to be like other takes that are coming out on the Blu-ray or DVD of her like doing pranks or doing something. I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably some stuff like that.
Or a scene.
It probably has some really good special features. Mm-hmm. I hope they do, because that's like the kind of movie that's like, you really want to see the special features on it. Yeah, it's like that's where you'll actually learn something.
Well, those hidden camera movies, like I like Jackass 1, the movie. I didn't like 2. I didn't care for 3, but let me put it this way. I like the segments where they're doing this kind of stuff. Where they're doing pranks. And where they're doing really cool stunts. I don't really care to see someone eat a snow cone full of piss or eat shit or cum. I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
It's more of just this kind of stuff. And that's what this movie was, and that's what I liked about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to say regarding that, all those movies always had, like in Borat and all that, they always had like those kind of special features where they're just like, here's a bunch of stuff we just couldn't show in the movie because we didn't have time for.
Well, yeah, and that's the cool thing too, is because you actually almost get like this director's cut along with the movie of all these extra scenes.
Yeah.
That are just as funny, but it's just they didn't fit story-wise or what have you.
Little kid was funny too.
That little kid was a good actor too. It's like he had some funny shit to say, and like he stayed totally like in character and everything.
The part when he goes up to like there's like he stops at the adult bookstore. She's just like, I'm gonna call you Cinnamon. 'Cause that's probably your hooker name or whatever your stripper name.
He's like, I'm not a stripper. He's like, well, you look like one.
I'm just gonna call you Cinnamon.
I also like the part too. It's just like it's almost got like there's this one part of the movie towards the end where like the kid pulls out like this pageant thing, and you're kind of like, oh, I guess they're gonna go to like one of these like little girl like I'm Miss Pretty pageants or whatever, like those like 8-year-old girl like pageant things where like people put way too much money
and making their kid look like a Barbie doll.
Yeah, make their kid like a Barbie doll, and like whatnot. I like how this like one lady's like, it's like a sport. It's like, it is not a fucking sport whatsoever. There's a big difference between putting your kid in fucking Little League and putting your kid in through all this shit.
Yeah.
But I love how, like, when they finally do go back to it, they really just, like, almost like the joke of it is just the fact it's like, we're just going to break this down to what this really fucking is. Mm-hmm. and they dress the fat kid up as the girl and then make him come out and just, like, he's like, oh, he's doing a little boat dance or whatever like that. Just rips off, like, this is like a stripper.
It's
like
starts doing a warrant cherry pie.
Yeah, it's like, because that's really what you guys are all doing. It's just a bunch of creepy people watching little girls trying to look pretty.
Yeah. That part was pretty awesome. That part was pretty good. There's like the one person that starts
and like Johnny Knoxville's up there like chucking
dollars. It's like throwing like whipping dollars at her.
That was fucking hilarious.
And that's really all you gotta say.
It's funny because when they showed like the women were kind of like, oh, and the guy was just kind of like, yeah.
Just like
the man judge was like, yeah, that's right. Fucking, that's what I've been here this whole time for.
Actually, I don't want to get off too topic. There's that one episode of South
Park where like the two guys are like jerking off, like
they're like rubbing their hand against their fucking laps in the middle of the judge. And just...
I love the part where it's like, yeah, those two judges are really into her.
He just shows them. Like one of the girls blows the judge a kiss. The judge catches his hand, then puts it in his lap. He's like, oh, like rolls his eyes up.
Because that's really when I think of those things too, especially when there's like a male judge. I mean, if it was like women only, it'd be like,
okay, whatever.
It's a weird woman thing. When there's a guy there, it's like, okay, there's just really something fucking wrong.
There's something, yeah.
That guy, I don't care who.
Something's off here.
There's no guy that should be like doing that.
Mm. Then I guess we go to the counselor.
Could.
We want to talk more about Bad Grandpa because we can.
It's up to you.
I just thought the movie was all around hella funny. I thought
it was really good. I
definitely see it. Yeah, if you like that kind of like prank humor, check it out. You know?
And I just like it's that simple kind of like, it's not complicated whatsoever.
Oh, it's all good.
Really, you know what actually was like the funniest part though? I think.
What?
I think is when like the little kid and like the grandpa were having like they're at a diner or whatever, and then they're like having a fart contest, and the grandpa's like, okay, he's gonna show you a big one. He just stands up and aims his ass against the wall and just shits all over the wall.
And you saw a couple people like, what was that? They turn around, their eyes just go,
whoa, what the fuck?
It's this huge shit stain against. I forgot about that part.
And that's really what makes these kind of movies, though, is the fact that, like,
because I was not expecting
those
that.
real expressions are. That's funnier than anybody can ever act, no matter what. And that's really what I think what makes these movies work well. It's, maybe it can't work for. I think comedy's like the perfect genre for those, though.
Yeah.
Because something that's kind of getting like old is like the horror movie ones like that. It's like that worked for like Paranormal Activity 1 and like maybe Blair Witch, maybe. That's still really not that great of a movie.
No, it's more like
it's more just because like it's different.
It's genius. It's genius.
It's the most genius idea, but it's movie wise it's kind of shit.
But I want to say this real quick. This didn't happen so much in the movie, but it relates to the movie. Johnny Knoxville was doing like a marketing campaign for the movie, and they were filming it at a frat house. Once they were done, it's Johnny Knoxville, so he was partying with some of the frat boys. Somebody spliced his drink with ecstasy, and instead of being kind of like
spliced,
not spliced, like spiked. Yeah, my bad.
He spliced it in half.
Spliced, yeah, spiked, whatever. You know what I mean. After he spiked the drink with X, it was one of those things like next day he went freaked out. Who spiked my drink? What the fuck? He was like, oh, it's been a while since I had some ecstasy, man. That's actually kind of, it's kind of, he actually just kind of took it. He didn't really.
Oh, whatever, that's cool.
Where I think most people would have like freaking the fuck out, and reasonably so. The fact that he's Johnny Knoxville is like,
yeah, whatever.
He said like, I know this. This is ecstasy.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Johnny. I'm glad to see he's actually in a starring role because Johnny Knoxville just feels like I feel like he should be in like a couple movies a year.
Even though I liked him, his character I thought was cool, but his character was kind of annoying in Last Stand. I thought.
In Last Stand, well, the only problem about that character is like, you see Dukes of Hazzard, and that's like in a sense like a serious comedy, if that makes any sense. Like he's not being like, well, I'm Johnny Knoxville, I'm goofy.
Yeah, he said like a few funny lines, but he wasn't.
But he wasn't doing like goofy shit, I guess is what I'm getting down to. It was like it's a funny movie, but it's more like serious comedy compared to being like out there comedy.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so good. He's moving up. Maybe he can play like some more serious comedy roles, I guess. And he's even good in Walking Tall. That's another really good one.
He's in like a dramatic comedy called Grand Theft Parsons, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah, he's in that one too.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
I'll let you borrow that one.
But like, yeah, it's like one of those ones. I really wish he was just in more things. Mm-hmm. But yeah. In Last Stand, though, he's kind of like, I'm the goofy Johnny Knoxville you all like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go climb this pole after I cut it.
He's just like humping the pole for like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it breaks, and it's like okay.
At least he doesn't need his own stuntman.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But no, Bad Grandpa, I'm glad he had a starring role again.
Yeah, good for him. And plus, it was a good movie. So
Yeah, yeah, really good. I would say that's almost like a buy when it comes out.
yeah,
I can see buying that one.
One that's unfortunately not a buy.
It's not a buy, but
because it's sad because it's one of my favorite directors. But The Counselor, which was kind of it was all right. You know, it was
one of the movies like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't really amazing.
And it kind of like because the first like half of the movie it's very slow, and they're kind of building up. But there's also like a lot of just kind of because he's a lawyer to I guess he's a drug dealer.
Yeah, he has no name. He really just is the counselor.
Yeah, and he's a. Did he actually have a name?
I don't think he did. I think everybody called him the counselor.
I think you're right.
And even in the credits, it said his name was the counselor.
Really? Okay. Well, he's working for Javier Bardem, which I'm assuming I don't think they ever completely say. I'm assuming he's a drug dealer or something because he's a millionaire and he has a bunch of like he knows a bunch of shady people and he dresses like he's a total drug dealer. So who knows? Mm-hmm. But Cameron Diaz is more or less trying to work. He's in love with her, but she's more or less working him over and just kind of destroying everything around him.
Yeah.
And everybody who makes deals with this guy
to get the money
and then what's the thing about it? Because it's called The Counselor, but he's just one part of it. Because there's really like 4 or 5 stories going on. There's a lot going on in the movie. I kind of forgot actually as soon as I walked out what some of them were. I'm not saying that to be mean. I really kind of forgot. Wait, what happened again in this part or that part?
Yeah, well, because it's one of those movies. It's like I don't know. It's like it has cool stuff in it. There's cool scenes almost. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a movie that has some pretty neat scenes.
And some great acting in it.
Yeah, and some good acting in it. But it's not like when you put it all together, I don't know, it almost feels like because there's some scenes in the movie that have nothing. They don't have nothing to do with the story, I guess you would say. They're just scenes to be scenes.
Well, there's a whole story in there about like they're like shipping drugs through a septic tank. Mm-hmm. And through a septic tank truck, yeah. And we follow this tank all the way to the end of the movie. And it's like, you could have probably cut it off at the halfway point. Because what ends up happening is that it gets stolen by somebody. And then from there, that causes complications with the counselor. And people are going to him because this loose connection he has to somebody that was involved.
Well, it's really weird how that connection is, too. It's like, he was like the lawyer for this guy's mom who's in jail. And his mom needs him to pay like his speeding ticket, and that's somehow some way gets him all like caught up in this or something like that.
He pays for the speeding ticket, and then somebody goes and kills I believe somebody goes and kills the kid.
Got the speeding ticket.
Because the kid, I think was he just some kid or did he deal? He dealt with drugs. He was like a dealer. Well, or something.
He took that like electrical component that like ran the septic tank septic tank truck that had the drugs in it.
Yeah.
And he put it in his helmet, and that's where they needed to like chop his head off.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's no other way to get that out of his helmet.
Yeah. So that's what happened. Yeah.
We had it's a really cool scene. We got this really elaborate way of chopping this guy's head off.
That was cool. I like that part. And then though, after that, you realize what ends up happening is they put it. You think they the counselor can sit down. Look, I just got the kid off. That's all it did. I was not trying to rob you guys or rip you off or nothing.
I paid a guy's fucking speeding ticket. That's all I did.
And they accuse him and get him. They never actually talk to him. But it's just this: stay away. They're looking for you. This and that. And what ends up happening is it just becomes okay. We got to get out of here. So he's trying to get with his wife, who he just married, Penelope Cruz, who he's madly in love with. And the whole movie are just telling him, it's like, just so you know, you're in for some shit. Like, I can handle it. You're in for some shit.
Like, you're gonna be fucked. You better get out of here. Get a cab. Don't go home.
Yep.
And he never listens to Brad Pitt. That's the one thing that you notice. His character never listens to Brad Pitt.
Always listen to Brad Pitt.
Yeah, always listen to Brad Pitt.
And then he ends up like, unless you're in Kill Him Softly.
Oh yeah.
If you listen to Brad Pitt, he'll just shoot you in the back of the head.
Yeah.
But
and kill you softly.
Yeah. At least yeah. But what was I gonna say? The movie actually just ends so fucking dark and so bleak, which I'm gonna give it credit for that because I wasn't expecting that. But earlier on, like, cause they say things and that's gonna come back around. Like, there's a part where Javier Bardem explains this device to Michael Fassbender. Like, they got this thing. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's called a hemlock or something like that. But it was like this wire you throw.
It's like a futuristic noose, really.
Yeah, it's this wire with this that you throw around your neck, and it pulls in, and you can't cut it.
And it constantly gets tighter and tighter and tighter
until it cuts your artery. And from
sometimes you can chop your head off.
Yeah, depending how strong it is. And it's like, all right, well, that shit's coming back at some point. And sure enough, that's how Brad Pitt dies.
It's actually one of the coolest deaths I've seen in a long time in a movie, to tell you the truth.
He's like, his blood shooting out. He's trying to stick his fingers out, trying to stop it the whole time he's yelling.
Cuts him off.
He cuts his fingers off the whole time he's
A
yelling.
bunch of rich people going, look at a man dying. Huh.
A man in a cowboy outfit.
I saw that a week ago.
Yeah.
These people are just kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody
being
said,
a rich district.
Yeah, well, it's probably because they're rich people, too. It's like, if you're in, a poor district, people will be like, oh my god, we gotta save this guy. But rich people are just like, huh. Well, this suit costs $3,000.
I'm not getting my
You think
suit.
I'm getting blood on that? Look at that. He's a heathen. He's got long hair.
And the whole
Just because
time
he's wearing a suit doesn't mean he means
he has
anything.
sunglasses.
Yeah, can't trust a man in sunglasses.
And has a cowboy-looking belt buckle,
Yeah,
So
and long hair. I'm so confused.
I liked his character a lot. I mean, he was just generally playing like Brad Pitt. But it's funny, the song they're playing as he's walking, though, it's just like some techno song. I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna fuck you. Did you hear that?
No, I don't think I did.
The song playing was some kind of techno song. And you just hear like in a pixelated voice, like, I'm gonna fuck you.
Was that the part where you get his head chopped off?
Yeah,
Or-
right as soon as the thing goes on his head, the music cuts.
Huh.
But the whole time he's yelling, "Fuck you! Fuck you!" As the thing's coming in, like, about to lop his head off. And that's near, like, the very end of the movie. And what ends up happening is it just goes, like, such a dark turn. So much darker than you think it would go. And they kidnap his wife, and you think there's going to be... Michael Fassbender's wife. You're expecting it's going to be like, all right, they're going to do a meet me here, and we're going to do some kind of trade-off thing.
That never happens.
Never happens. And earlier on in the movie... he says something like, the people you deal with, they do snuff films. That's one of their business, is snuff films. And he's like, oh, wow. And then, like, what they did, they says, I saw this one time where they cut the young girl's head off after they fucked her or whatever on video. And they don't show it, but he just says, like, oh, shit. And then what ends up happening is at the end of the movie, Michael Fassbender ends up like some kid, because he's hiding out in Mexico waiting for his wife or trying to figure out what he's going to do next. And trying to say, can you organize a deal with these people? I can work something out. And he says, no, nothing you can do, man. You just got to accept it. And there's one guy, he's talking to this one Mexican guy on the phone who gives this really good speech. I mean, it's depressing as fuck, but it's this really well-written good speech. Like, this movie has moments. It has really great moments.
Well, that's the thing. There's moments in it that are just like, that's a really good scene.
Yeah.
You know? And that it's like, it has those, but I don't know. Maybe it's one of those movies like,
maybe
the movie was cut down a little bit too. Sometimes some movies, I feel like if you'd... the movie is an hour and 50-something minutes, I want to say. If the movie was maybe an hour and a half, maybe it would have just flowed a little bit smoother.
And then what ends up happening is, so he ends up getting, like, he's hiding out, and he's just he's just planning, trying to figure out what he's going to do. And this kid brings him this DVD, and he just turns around. I think the DVD said Ola or Hala or something like that.
Yeah, Ola.
And he just breaks down and just starts crying. Michael Fassbender did a great job.
Oh, yeah.
Because for a while, he's just very emotionally numb, like, I'm Michael Fassbender. I'm very good looking, and I'm rich in this movie. Then as the movie goes on, though, shit goes down.
He's just bawling,
and he did just snot out of his nose. Hasn't showered for 4 days, and then we get this shot. It's just like, this is so fucking bleak. You see, like, this dumpster lop out this body, this dead
head,
no head, and it's like it's meant to assume Penelope Cruz, and she's like,
and then
she's like nothing, like her underwear just flopped out, no head. He's like, oh wow, that's fucked up,
Yeah, and then there's just land movers just pushing more trash over
into
it,
like a landfill.
Like this just happens every day.
Yeah, and just that shot of the landfill, that's just chilling once you see that. And then you cut to, like, I believe it's Cameron Diaz meeting up with somebody, because she was the one organizing and orchestrating all this stuff, which fucked everybody over to get.
And now she gets to walk away with, millions of dollars or whatever.
Yeah, and she has the speech like, look, this is what we are. We're apex predators, yada, yada, yada. I like jaguars, not jaguars, cheetahs.
Yeah, cheetahs, because she had 2 cheetah.
Yeah, and she talks about, like, cheetahs and why she liked them and this and that, so... Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm going to China, get me some diamonds. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Credits.
And then there's several scenes in there that aren't even necessary. There's a part when, like, Michael Fassbender and Penelope Cruz are just eating, and then, like, some, like, douchey rich guy with a southern accent comes up and, like, starts talking shit and just leaves. And, like, that guy's gonna play a part later. Doesn't at all. So I wonder if there's a deleted scene or something.
I thought that girlfriend for some reason came back. Maybe that was a different actress.
You mean the chick that screwed over Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think that was her. I think that was a different actress.
They just look similar because they had a weird look to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was scenes like that where you're just like, wait, maybe they do tie together if you watch it again, but it's like, yeah, some of them was like, I don't know why that's there exactly. Well, even like the intro to the movie is just this like like Penelope Cruz going like, I want you to go feel my pussy and
Eat
push
it
down
out.
there, go
Yeah.
put your face down there. Oh yeah. It's like, that's the intro for like 5 minutes.
We were the only young people in the theater.
And the old people were like, yeah, that's why I came here.
Oh, wife's like, oh.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm trying to watch Penelope Cruz get her pussy eaten. They should put that on the tagline out there.
But Penelope Cruz gets her pussy eaten.
Very beginning of the movie.
Well, if you look at the poster makes it look like it's just kind of like
A romantic comedy of some
it
sort.
because it just shows all the big actors in the movie lined
It's like
up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and it just says the counselor. It doesn't even look threatening or dark or anything. When you see the movie, it's like, oh shit, this is
a
very
grim
bleak.
movie. Yeah.
It's
That's kind of a cool location because it's like the areas that want. I mean, you see Mexico in movies, but I mean like that kind of like Arizona, Texas, like smaller yet large towns. I don't know, like medium-sized cities, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. It's like you don't see that as often in movies though. So I kind of like that. The look of it was neat.
Yeah.
And then there's even scenes too. There's like this sticks in my head is like there's a part that's just I think it just like it looks really neat where I want to say it's Michael Fassbender's driving like that convertible and it's like a Mercedes of some sort. No, it's a Bentley.
Okay.
And he's driving by, and it just shows there's this fucking, like, sedan or kind of like a family truckster sitting on the sidewalk.
No
just
tires.
Like, no tires. Just destroyed as can be. And you see this really
Trash
nice...
around
Yeah,
it.
just trash all over. I almost want to say it was, like, partially on fire, but I don't think it was. You know, looks like it just came out like Escape from New York or something like that.
Yeah.
And there was stuff like that every once in a while, too. It's like, it just showed, like, extreme rich and then just, like, run down as can be.
Which I guess they're trying to do a compare and contrast with that.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're going with.
So there'd be moments where they would just show, like, it was like, for a while, it was like, rich people have no problems for a while in the movie, and then, like, people saying, you don't want to get into this. I guess maybe that's what they're trying to do, but at the same time, that part was just boring. The first half of this movie, there's a few scenes, but overall, the first half was pretty boring. Then once you get to the halfway point, it picks up a little bit. I think it still could have been trimmed down, because it follows I think, maybe I gotta see it again, but it follows the septic truck for a while, but then it just like, what's the point of it? But it kind of
You do get to a good scene though, even though it's kind of like a nonsense scene, but it is kind of funny, where you get what's his name?
John Leguizamo.
Yeah, John Leguizamo.
And then the guy that plays Hank in Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you get like this funny scene like that where he talks about like there's like a dead body in one of the tanks that's all like pickled or whatever, and he's like, "Well, what are you gonna do with that? Oh, we're just gonna put it back in the truck, you know."
It's a joke they do. They
It's a
keep
joke.
on
It's
sending-
funny.
They
You
send
gotta
it
have a sense of humor in this business.
They send it to me. I send it back to them. You know.
Goes to an auction, you know, somebody gets it.
Yeah. So I thought, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the movie definitely did have some good scenes. There's a scene where, like, Javier Bardem, he's, like, getting heavy, he's drinking heavily, he's like, she fucked my car the other day. Like, what do you mean, like, she fucked you in the car? No, she fucked my car. And then, like, they have this whole scene. He's narrating over it. The way he's narrating it, the scene itself, it's weird, but his narration
makes it funny.
Makes it hilarious. There's a part where camera, like, they're pulled off, like, somewhere. Cameron Diaz takes off her panties and she starts more or less like dry humping the car, rubbing her pussy up
the
against
windshield.
it. You don't see it, but then you like Harvey Bardem, he's like explaining it, and he just says, "Look," she's like, and she's looking at me, making sure I'm not checking my fucking email or something while I'm doing this. It was just fucking, it fucking changed me, man.
Like,
It's weird.
Look like a suckerfish, you know, going up like the side of an aquarium.
And it was too gynecological to be sexy, you know.
I like how it's just like this moment, like he just had to fucking explain it to somebody.
Yeah,
and that's another scene. It actually looked like it had nothing to do with the movie, but it was kind of funny. So I think it's worth having in there because it kind of broke up the seriousness, and maybe that's the whole reason some of those scenes. But
some of the scenes they didn't even have that much levity to them. They were just kind of like, I guess maybe it was just like extreme levity, extreme shit going down.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably all these reasons why these things are there.
It's Ridley Scott. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. I do feel as well as movies, though. Not when I think back on it, I think if you just trimmed, you know, probably even 10 minutes would make a difference. But I feel like if you trimmed like 15 or 20 minutes, I think it would just flow smoother. Mainly just to speed up that intro.
That's because the intro just, it seems unnecessarily
It's a little drug on,
but I just thought that part was just hilarious right there. And plus, I think they were like, well, for the scene that they're going back to the pickled scene, the
Pickled Man, John Leguizamo.
I think, well, we already paid for John Leguizamo, which he's more expensive than the average guy just to bring on, and we already have the guy from Breaking Bad here, so might as well use them. Could be kind of weird saying, why'd you cut those scenes out? Because we already paid for these guys. I can see it being something kind of like that, but
it's funny.
They're not like top bill actors, but at the same time, they're probably more expensive just to get some other guy to come in and say
You can just get anybody to come in and do that scene, but you get those guys.
which they work good together. I see a movie just those two because they were funny together.
I want to see John Leguizamo in a starring role again too.
Yeah,
I mean, he does have some like starring roles, but I mean, like a main like theatrical movie.
I was happy to see him in Kick-Ass 2, but when he died, it's like no.
I know, yeah. It was like, oh.
He's like one of the best parts of Kick-Ass 2.
He was.
But in this movie though, there's the one part I want to say. There's actually some of the small things with Cameron Diaz, like the part when she walks into the church and she sticks her finger in the holy water. She doesn't really know what to do with it. She smells it, just keeps on walking.
Yeah.
Like just small things like that.
See, that's what I think the movie is. The movie's filled with a lot of good like moments and scenes, and I think when I think back on it, I actually think it's a little bit better than it is. I just think that it has slow moments that kind of bring it down.
Yeah,
slow moments are the moments that don't have as much to do with
like the world's longest, most uninteresting pussy eating scene.
Well, it's just like it's 5 minutes, and really you could have covered that in like a minute.
Yeah,
it didn't need to be. You could just keep it simple.
I guess
the
just
guy
trying to
loves
show
his
how.
wife, yeah.
I guess trying to show how much he loves
or
her
he's
and how
not wife
happy.
yet, but I guess they're getting married.
How happy they are together or whatever. But yeah, still, it was one of those scenes that just kind of. I guess
I feel like it was like I'm Ridley Scott. I'm fucking old now. So I want to see some weird shit. I want to see a girl fuck a car, guy eat out this chick in the beginning of the movie.
Brad Pitt lose his head.
Yeah, that's fucking sexy. There's some kid who's gonna get his head chopped off, while driving a motorcycle.
This may as well just some weird outlet. Ridley Scott just wanted to see some fucked up shit.
They told me I had to cut out that snuff scene, but I was gonna throw that in there too.
I'm actually glad they cut out that snuff scene.
That was gonna be my cameo role too.
He's the guy, and he's the gimp or whatever.
He's the guy who like chops off her head and looks at the camera, gives thumbs up.
Just still frame. Da 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 da. Directed by Ridley Scott.
I don't know.
There's your. You said you thought you the.
The way the movie should have ended. I thought was
because the movie's so serious.
Because the movie keeps having these things where it's like they explain something and then it comes back around, and this happens and it comes back around. I was like, well, they never came back around to her fucking that car. What if that car didn't want to be fucked? What if the movie just ended and it was just Cameron Diaz being fucked by a Ferrari? And it was just like
it's like a transformer or some shit.
Yeah, it's just like this round. I was like, she's like, no, screaming, and it just has this nice like pan or like truck back, and it goes back, keeps zooming out, and then you see like a cameraman filming this.
The light guy, the boom guy.
You start seeing the light guy, the boom guy, and then it just gets to the point where just like Ridley Scott just stand there like, yeah, have that car fuck her, yeah, fuck her harder, and then just cuts, and then has like a happy song at the end.
If you like pina coladas,
just the most like. I'm really waiting for somebody to do that because that's one thing I've never seen in a movie. I've never seen this in a movie.
The ultra serious movie with the super like funny ending.
The extremely twist ending.
I guess
something that's close, but it's not like it is still, I guess, a serious movie, but it's not like as serious as like a drama. But it's Cabin Fever. That's one of the only movies I can think that actually does that though.
Another one. It's like.
Did you ever see Cabin Fever?
No, I never saw Cabin Fever.
Oh,
I know you told me how it ends though, but here's another one real quick though. This is actually you're gonna say with that movie. It's like once again not as violent or anything, but big fan with Patton Oswalt because the whole movie it's kind of like so bleak, so unfunny, and then it gets to this very end point where it's like, oh my god, he's gonna kill this guy, then he's gonna kill himself. Oh, this is fucked. Then it all ends up he has like it was just a paintball gun. He knocks the guy out with. He says "fuck you." He just runs out the door. Yeah. So I mean that movie it was all right, but that was a pretty funny way to end it because you think there's no turn back. It's just gonna be like such a dark ending. It ends up being kind of funny.
Well, yeah, I guess that's a little bit. That's not like
it's not that jump,
but that's not like unrealistic.
It's not literally breaking that fourth wall there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That like there, it's like okay, I could see that's like one of those ones like you know what, he still gets to shoot him, just not.
Yeah.
Actually. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit different. I'm more just thinking where a movie just completely shifts, where it just shifts to a point where it's just like there's no going back point. See, like. I'm a big fan. There's a going back point. In fact, like that's not like it's unrealistic. It's not like he came in there and he just took a lightsaber and chopped the guy in half. It's like, what the fuck? Where did they get on sci-fi all of a sudden?
I'm kind of thinking that if you ever wanted to, if there's like ever like a sequel,
or he didn't just like go in there and just like he just went into like this hyperbolic time chamber and like worked out and then came out and he was like Goku or something and just like had this huge battle like in space. You know, it didn't like jump that much.
You're waiting for a movie to do something like that?
I'm more just waiting for some movie just a little, like more like one of those kind of like, in a sense, something like The Counselor. That's a very serious, dark drama, slight action movie that literally just turns at the very end of the movie to being like, what the fuck? Like,
we're in space, bitches. Want something like that?
yeah, something just like, just out there, just so, something like Ridley Scott could pull off. He's like, I made so many fucking good movies. I could do this. I could just do this.
Woody Allen could probably pull it off. Quentin Tarantino,
anybody who's like a humongous director could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Quentin Tarantino could do it, and it'd be like, oh, that just seems like a Quentin Tarantino thing to do.
Yeah.
But somebody, it's like, you never see it. And the closest thing I can think of is Cabin Fever. Cabin Fever is the closest thing, because that movie does just go from like, that's the usual like thing where it's like, hey, we're a bunch of college kids or something like that, and then it's like, oh shit, this water's poison, we're all fucking dying, and everybody ends up dying and stuff. And then it gets back to the town. And there's a part where all these black people pull up to like some like backwoods like white trash town, and you see this old man run back, and he's like, he gets his gun, and you're like, oh god, what's he gonna do? He's gonna kill these poor black people and stuff. And then he gets up there and he just starts talking jive with them.
Really?
Yeah, and literally starts saying, it's like, here you go, man, I'll fix your gun for you, I almost want to say like he's like,
this is with like a bluegrass song,
and he's like, what up, niggas? What's going on? Like something like it's so completely. You're like, what the fuck? Because you just saw all these horrific deaths, and it just got down to like the serious point of like the end of a horror movie and stuff. And then it just cuts to like all the guys sitting outside playing like this bluegrass song as the credits come down.
That's a way to end a movie right there.
It really, as well as one. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, what the fuck? I couldn't figure it out. And then I was like later on, like, that is so fucking genius. Eli Roth is amazing. I wish he would make more movies, because he hasn't made that many movies, but like it's like Cabin Fever is one of those movies. Like, it sounds weird because most people it just probably feels like a knockoff, kind of like, oh, it's just another horror movie.
Yeah.
But that's one. I'd probably say it's my top 10 favorite horror movies. That's such a good, well-made movie, and that ending just tops it all off.
I'll have to check that one out at some point.
Those kind of part is really fucking weird too. If like when they first get to the town in the beginning. There's like this kid with like long hair outside or whatever, and he just looks at him. He's like, pancakes, and he starts doing fucking martial arts and stuff. And you're like, what the fuck? And he's yelling pancakes.
That's probably something like you saw like kids somewhere, like the kids going to the movie.
Well, in the special features, there's like this scene where it's just like this kid, apparently because he has like a black belt or something like that. So he must have just found this kid did like awesome martial arts. He's like, I'm putting that kid in the movie. Yeah, there's just a scene where this kid's just doing like 5 minutes of martial arts.
Oh wow.
Or it's I don't know. It's like
I'll have to borrow that from you at some point.
You got to see that one at some point. It is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, I guess next week we can continue our Batman Arkham Origins once we finally beat the game.
Yeah.
And then even maybe jump into Blackgate a bit and so on. And
is there any movies coming out next week?
I want to say Las Vegas is the one that comes out next week.
Oh, that's a maybe for me. I don't know.
It's one of those. It probably could be funny, but it doesn't feel like it's not like a Riddick or something like a Man of Steel that like you have to be there.
Yeah.
Or else you wouldn't know what to do it for yourself.
Exactly. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, maybe.
But for sure, like we'll have probably all kinds of more Batman talk. Mm-hmm. So till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And check out oldmanorange.com. Until then,
see you later.
Bye.